All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. A salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. We are here once again with another weekly edification, letting you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans know you are the children of Israel according to the scriptures. All right, Lord's will, we may start off into that, but, the Spirit, I wanted to go into a lot of these other things that's going on as far as the wars and the rumors of wars and things like that. But, hey, we're going to just go wherever the Spirit goes, man. But, hey, as you see, as prophecy is taking place, matter of fact, let me go ahead and start off with that. We're going to just flow with the Spirit, all right? Because we're in, certain times, all right, where, matter of fact, let me grab that as well, too. We'll start with that precept. All right. In fact, see that page is all ripped out. This is how much we didn't show you this real quick. This is how much we didn't read the scripture so much, right? That the page is pretty much gone right there. All right, so give me a second. Let me pull it up on the phone. All right. But hey, this is a time like never before. All right. As we're getting closer and closer to the end, things are becoming made more manifest. All right. So give me 1 second to pull this here up. All right. In fact, we'll read it real quick through the KJV, and we'll go back and we'll read through the NLT. All right. It says, "I will." Habakkuk 2:1. It says, "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and to watch what to see what he shall say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved." It says, "And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." All right, and we read this, like I said, I just showed you. We read it so much, you know what I'm saying, that, hey, and that's one of the more heavily used pages in the scriptures, or in my actual scriptures here, man. All right, one of the pages that's kind of ripped up from just, hey, constantly going there, man, bringing it out. But how much more in this here point in time that we're living in now, that this scripture is, like the scripture say, at the end the vision shall speak and not lie. All right, the vision is what? These prophecies. Where are the prophecies found? Written in the book. All right, there's another precept real quick. Let's grab that. 2nd Ezra 15:1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." All right, so hey, this is what we were how do I say, tasked to do. This was our job. All right, this is what the Lord told us, commanded us to go out there and do. All right, we're not just coming out of our minds, and there's this thing that separates us from a lot of these YouTubers that are on. You have the certain people like now some of them are doing a job, but not a full-time job, more or less to say. They have a full-time job. That's a bad word, a bad term or expression. They have a full-time job, but their job isn't our job, man. All right, you can think of certain YouTubers, that just pump out information and things like that, man. News channels, a lot of them are either Edomites or appear to be Edomites and things like that. They give us the heads up on certain things. They do a lot of the research into things like more or less to say worldly things, man. All right, things that's going on with certain financial systems and things like that, to where, hey, we don't have to spend all of our time, looking and learning the fine print of those things. So say, for instance, you have like legal, what they call legal jargon. All right, instead of us going to school to learn legal jargon the long, hard way, and they break it down to us in layman's terms. Hey, whenever you see this is what this here means. So we could pop on a video real quick and then get the rundown on what these things mean based off of their long-term research, man, or whatever their background forte is, man. Our background is what? Learning these scriptures, man. So when people ask us what's going on, hey, we can break it down into you, like the scriptures say, make it so that he may read. Let me read that again. Make it plain upon tables that he may read. Let me see. Verse 2, Habakkuk 2:2, it says, "And the Lord answered me." Let me read this in the KJ and NLT actually. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "The Lord said unto me, Write my answer plainly on tables, so that the reader can carry the correct message to others." All right, so hey, it's easy for you to sit there and understand it and run along with it, man. All right, just like how in certain words mean certain things, and if you have a certain type of background in whatever it is that your specialty is, it's like you can easily break things down to other people a lot faster. It's like, hey, this just means that, man. All right, when you see this here word, it means that. They have certain things like I don't know, endo and exo, right? Like I think in health or something like that, like endo, they have words that go behind this, and then exo, one means inside, one means outside. It's easy to break it down like that. Hey, you hear endo, it means inside. Exo means outside. Make it plain and easy for you to be able to understand that so-called quote-unquote jargon. So you have, men that, again, that's not necessarily 100% in this truth. They don't claim to be prophets or anything else like that. They give you the little rundowns of certain things. Let's say you're in the military, right? And all this military jargon and everything else like that, and so on and so forth. And they're like, look, man, what is it? The 101st Airborne. I believe they're what they call the first to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, so we may be watching somebody who's translating certain things out from us, like, hey, they deploying the 101st Airborne, this and that. We over here like, what the hell is so important about that? They always deploying troops everywhere. Nah, these is the first to fight. They always go in before they send in the troops. So that's gonna let you know where they're about to go. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, that's what their job was. And, they give us those things and make it plain that we can read and run it just the same way as, and vice versa, whenever you see prophecies take place, man. When you see certain things like the situation with Ye, right? You have the scenario with him, and he's speaking on these certain things, and then you see the backlash with those things, and people ask us, well, what's the big importance about this and that, and so on and so forth. He shouldn't have been bugged out and saying all this. He just crazy. He this and that. We tell you, hey, whoa, wait a minute. It's not just what you think it is on the surface level, man. This has some deeper meanings to these things, man. All right, as far as the men of the Lord and the things that the men of the Lord have been saying, because we know that they're not going to just come and put us up on the news and on the TV they've tried, but every time that they try putting us up on the news, it pretty much has brought more people into the truth. All right, so they have to create a so-called boogeyman narrative with somebody, it's like a buzzword, an attachment word, man. They hijack words and sometimes people, and they associate you with that person just by, oh, you like this, you must be of that type of caliber. All right, like for instance, R. Kelly, right? You talk about, oh, I like R. Kelly. Oh, you must be peeing on little girls. You're like, nah, I just so happen to like his music, man. What the hell is all that about? Like we all known the man for his music and everything else like that, man. But then they've associated certain things with him. So whenever you say these things, or like Michael Jackson, oh yeah, I'm over here listening to some Michael Jackson. Oh, you must be liking them little boys or something like that. Like, nah, man, y'all just associated these things with that. So if you have, or you don't want to go and take a tequila shot, or you must be anti this or anti that. Like, nah, I'm just not with that. You know what I'm saying? So they associate certain things with these things to make it, how do I put it? More like a buzzword. Whenever you hear this, your mind closely associates one thing with the other. But we know that this is what Esau's doing to bring in what prophecy? What prophecy should come to your mind when you think about these things about Ye getting canceled for saying the how do I say the most dangerous, most hurtful things that they said that he was saying, man. All right. In fact, I wanted to go into this real quick. And hey. They real hurt. You know what I'm saying? If this is what they doing, cause see, Jake don't want to read. Jake don't look into a lot of things, man. Jake don't ask the correct questions. All right. So let me look this up real quick, cause he said two things that were so-called hurtful, a few things that were so-called hurtful about these things, man, or about these people, man. But hey, again, if you don't have the spiritual eyes to understand what's going on, then you'll fall victim to these things, man. All right. So this is let me go back one. All right, now they try to change up the word of what Homeboy said, right? Now what Homeboy said now, and no means are we, pro Ye, pro this and pro that and everything else that he's doing in his life. And none, hey, bro, look, like, for one, I know the man from his music, right? I like his music. His music is good to me. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Now, granted, he has other things that, I'm not so supportive of his clothing and stuff or his shoes. I'm not a big fan of that. Whatever, he has his own personal life and the things he do with his life, that's on him. You know what I'm saying? It's just so happened like, hey man, the man make good music, that it is what it is. So we're not so-called pro this and pro that, and he's a so-called hero leader, or we're now Yehites or whatever you want to call it. Nah, man. Hey, but the how they say, it's the message, not the messenger. All right, we see what, again, like I said, they're trying to associate one thing with another. But as far as going up, changing up with the things that he said, they have to bend the truth. These are the devils that we tell you about, man. the deceivers, and we call them this because of their actions, not because of how we feel about this and how we feel about that. You know, they talk about this rhetoric. It's, oh, this is the same type of rhetoric that led to such and such happening beforehand. Hey, what about the things that's still happening to us nowadays, man? All right, the tropes and the stereotypes that you have against us, man. Oh, we must be selling drugs. You see Jake riding around in a nice car, the police automatically assume you're a drug dealer or the car is stolen, man. All right, it can't just be your car. All right, you could be in your own neighborhood. You've been living there for so many years in a nice neighborhood, and some new neighbors move in the neighborhood and see you checking the mailbox or something like that. And they might roll up on you, ask you what you doing, because of negative stereotypes, man. They can call the police on you because of what you may be doing, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like just because, oh, I don't know what they got going on over there. It just look like this. We see this all the time with Karens, man. But yet and still, you know, the same way that they have these Karens calling the cops and stuff on Jake, and Jake wound up getting killed over these things, man. Hey, it's, you know, you can't say anything about the, oh, y'all are just always playing the victim. But these people are always playing the victim, man. All right, but going into these things, he said DEFCON 3 on these small hats, all right? DEF, right? Then they changed it to death, all right? DEATH. It's two different terms, and the other one is a terminology. So when you go into this, all right, you know, if you was, like I said, Jake don't really understand anything. You know, they don't really look into things. They don't look up things, man. If they was to look up things, then they would understand, because, you know, it's simple to just, you know, pull out your phone and Google certain things. But again, they will go and listen to what the so-called masses or the media is saying unto them. All right, so you have to ask yourself, again, what was so harmful, what was so hateful about what he was saying? If you really go into these things. Now, if you want to change up what he was saying to construct your own idea about what old boy was saying to fit your narrative, which is now dangerous unto him, now you've put this man's life in danger because of your narrative. Like, the things you blaming him for is the exact same thing that you just did to him. Changing up his words, changing up what he was meaning about these things, won't allow him to clarify what he's saying on these things, and now you have people all hating him and shutting him down. Now, this man said DEF, DEFCON, all right, you know, to these people, all right, and then all of a sudden they changed it to DEATHCON, DEATH, as if he's calling out death on these people, man. And that's not so. And it's causing him to get canceled and everything else like that, painting him in a negative imagery. They're projecting the same thing that they're saying is happening to their people is what he's doing, what they're doing to him. So now when you use to look up what he was saying about DEFCON 3, right? So let me go and look up the definition of this. It says DEFCON, all right, DEFCON. You could Google it yourself, man. DEFCON is what he was saying, all right? It says DEFCON is a U.S. military term that stands for Defense Readiness Condition. All right, and then we'll get further into it. But hey, if he's saying DEFCON, he's saying he's defending himself against this. Be prepared. Be ready for this, man. Brace yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, brace for impact, man. All right. It says this is a part of the system that indicates the level of threat the U.S. faces or may face from other countries and the readiness of potential military response to such threats. So when America say DEFCON, this and that, they saying, hey, we bracing ourselves from you know, impending attack. We're preparing ourselves from things coming in towards us, man. And so, hey, he was right about what he was saying. Look, I'm going on DEFCON 3 against them because I know what I'm about to say. They finna be throwing all kind of shit at me, man. And I got to prepare myself to defend myself from these things. So what's so wrong about you saying you want to defend yourself from the attackers attacking you, man? And especially when they're going to change up your words and your analogy and everything else like that, because that's not what he was saying. You know, that's not even a proper term. DEATH, DEFCON. And so that's what, who uses that type of shit, man? Who uses that type of terminology? That's not a terminology that people use, but DEFCON are some shit that the Americans came up with, man. All right, and he just used that. So now let's go and find out what DEFCON 3. All right, DEFCON 3. So you can look these things up, but it says DEFCON 3. The exercise term is called Roundhouse. The readiness, it says Air Force 15 minutes to mobilization, and the description: force readiness increased above normal levels. So what he was saying was his force readiness or his defense was increased above normal levels because I know, hey, you go on DEFCON 3 all the damn time. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what the hell you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You could be outside about to tear down a wasp nest, right? And you know oh shit, hold on, let me go over here. You all prepared to go deal with what you got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Or you riding down the street with no seatbelt on. You see the police. All of a sudden, DEFCON 3, put the seatbelt on real incognito. I got to defend myself from getting pulled over, man. All right, so this is what old boy is saying now. All of a sudden, this is the most hateful thing to say to defend yourself. But not only that, hey, he's saying that who he was according to the scriptures, man. He was an Israelite. He said, hey, you know, there was another interview. He was like, you calling yourself the ish. He's like, no, not ish. Ish means pertaining to, all right, being something like, all right. You know, it's you saying like, you know, you can say something that's like white-ish, you know, like in terms of color, right? You know, like, well, and another term that they have for white-ish is what? Off-white. Meaning if something is painted off-white, doesn't mean it's actually white. Now, does it? You know what I'm saying? You got a car that's off-white, pale white, what's that other color? You got off-white, pale white, you got a pearl white. None of these is actual white. All right, so hey, it's like saying white-ish. It, you know, can you give me another description for pearl white, pale white, or off-white? Well, it's whitish. It's not quite white, but it's almost like white. You know what I'm saying? But hey, this is you know, what he was going into. So all of a sudden now, these are the most hateful things that you can say. Now again, going into how that's paired towards the talking points that we speak about is what? What do we come out here to tell you, man? You are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the children of Israel according to the scriptures. All right, you know, and we have plenty of scriptures to back these things up. All right, in which, you know, all it would take is for you to read, man. All right, all it would take for you to do is to go into the scriptures, pick up the scriptures, and read with an understanding. You know, a lot of our people like to go into, oh, this is the so-called white man's book. This is the so-called white man's book and everything else like that. But that's how do I put it? That's not the actual narrative. All right, let me give me 1 second. This all right, let's lock it. But going into these here things, you know, I was speaking to somebody the other day about these things, and you know, they was speaking on this, and hey, man, this sparks a lot of edification coming out because hey, you know, you have people asking questions now. All right, 1 second, let me find some precepts I want to grab. All right, but anyway, you know, going into these things, you know, our people would say, you know, I was giving them the breakdown of certain things. You know, their questioning was, in fact, we can run through these scriptures real fast as well, too, the same way, all right, because it'll just lead us right to where we were going, all right. And so they're trained in questioning, and it was good for edification, all right. So we're gonna go through that because, hey, like I said, this was something that I kind of said in private to somebody when asked about these things, man. All right, what they got going on? Anyway, so you know, as far as you know, this here sparking great conversations and talking points and edification points and everything else like that. The person I was talking to that was wondering. It was funny because I had been telling them about this the whole time for years on end. I told them that we were the Israelites and everything else like that, and it was like, yeah, you know, it's kind of, I kind of believe you, kind of don't believe. Not to say I kind of don't believe you, but I don't really see the importance in everything else. And I told them, like, it's funny how whenever I tell you certain things, or when Jake tell you certain things, it's not that big of a deal. But when Esau tell you these things, then our people believe. All right, it's like it's not until Esau come out and tell you these things, that's when our people start to believe. Now going into this here scenario, you know, they was again dealing with this whole Ye situation, right? And then they was saying, I guess they seen some type of Facebook or some kind of post, right, saying that maybe that he watched this movie from Hebrews to Negroes, I think is the name of the documentary or something like that. But anyway, they wound up watching this documentary, and they was pointing out certain things, and they was like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy how they just came with all these facts and all this and that. You should watch this. You should watch it. Like, look, I've been doing this for quite a while now. Like, I know pretty much. I ain't seen the documentary, but I'm like, I know what they going into. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what we bring out. The same. We go into the scriptures and we pull these things out. We go into history and we show you these things, man. All right, we go into all these different things. You know, going in back into the 10 tribes and everything else like that. Again, this was something I did in private with somebody the other day. But talking about Luis de Torres. You know, you look up Luis de Torres, and they was telling you about how he was an Israelite, basically, all right, that was converted over, you know, during the Inquisition time. And this was a point in time where all the Jews was being expelled from Spain. And when you go into that history and everything else like that, you will find out that we was actually over there and we got expelled out of there, all right, you know, being the Spaniards before the Edomite Spaniards that you know today, all right, just by doing a little bit of this here history, you will find all these things out. I'm like, the history's always been there, but then you don't go into key terms, all right? Some of these key things, you know, brings forth all these things. In fact, you know, for further edification, we're going to read a little bit of that, all right? Because the making the point to the fact of, you know, all this truth has been out there beforehand, man. But our people, they don't want to read. Like the scripture say, blessed is he that readeth, and with all that getting, get understanding. All right, a lot of our people don't seek the Lord. They don't look for these things. It's all over, man. All right, and I was telling this here person, I was like, look, all that I've learned, I learned about Columbus in school. Learned that he was looking for Asia and got lost, found America. Like, that's not, he was never looking for Asia, man. All right, they had been over there quite often. It's not that damn far from where they was at. All right, and this was a conquest that he took to find America. All right. So I'm gonna read a little bit of this real quick on Louis de Torres. It goes to show that, like, look, if you know a little bit of this here history, things don't sound so crazy. So dealing with old boy, Ye, in the scenario that he's talking about, like, if you don't understand these things, of course it's gonna sound like you crazy and everything else like this. But if you know this here history, if you know the scriptures, if you understand what's really going on, the people that's combating against him sound crazy. Just like how we were saying DEFCON 3. To anybody in the military that heard that shit, they was just like, okay, and what was so bad about that? We go DEFCON 3 all the time. That means brace yourself, fool. You know what I'm saying? Prepare yourself. Get ready. Put your seatbelt on, man. How crazy is that to tell somebody, hey, man, we about to get in the car, put your seatbelt on, man. Brace for impact, man. Prepare yourself for incoming attack. Somebody that's understanding that terminology would know better. But if you don't understand that terminology, it's easy for you to sit there and try to throw in that deception, man. Oh, he said DEFCON. No, nigga, nobody uses that terminology, man. But DEFCON, that's going into what? Being a military term for preparing yourself, man. All right, and hey, man, and again, only to the the uneducated on these things, it's easy to pull the wool over their eyes, man. If you don't know about what the scriptures say about these certain things and about the Israelites, the prophecies, all right, we was opening up by reading that, speak in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, all right, and cause them to be written in paper because they're faithful and true. All right, if you don't understand all these prophecies and things, it'd be easy for you to overlook these things. And then, this person was sending me something about these people over there creating the third temple and getting a red heifer and everything else like that. I'm like, look, we just went over one of the major keys of understanding the scriptures is the fact of knowing who is who in the scriptures, man. These are the Edomites. These are that group is the Amalekites, which descend from Edom. It's still Edomites. All right, like, these ain't the right people, man. Why the hell would they be looking? They run and own every damn thing, man. How the hell are they looking for the Messiah to come and save them? Save them from what? They don't want to press in the whole damn planet. If anything, everybody else need to be saved from them. So you have to put that in your ideology and your terminology and things like that, man. You just went through and found out about how we were scattered through the four corners of the earth, put on the cargo slave ships. We was the only people that it ever happened to. But then you over here looking at these people because they telling you they building a third temple. These niggas is deceivers, man. Remember that when you starting to see all these things. It sounds good to be to the I keep wanting to say the uninitiated, but really, hey, the uninitiated, because the Lord has to put that spirit on you to see these things, man. Because I used to think the same way, seeing these folks over there, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're going back, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but that's not in the proper context, man. The Lord said that He was going to put them back into that land. They wasn't going to. Well, the Lord did say that they was going to appoint that land into their own hands, but He was talking about the Edomites doing that, man. So again, if you don't understand the scriptures, they don't fit. What is that? Isaiah 14. 1 and 2 about them coming back into their own land, all right, and the nations cleaving unto them. They don't fit that description, but they just fit the description of Ezekiel chapter 36, Ezekiel 35 about, saying these two lands, these two nations are going to be mine, and they have appointed my lands into their possession with their with gladness, roughly paraphrasing. Yeah, they fit that description, all right, about being the heathens, the Edomites doing these things, but not as the Israelites being returned back over there, man. So you understand these things, you'll know a little bit better about these things, man. So let's go into this here Louis de Torres scenario. All right, because like I said, you know a little bit about the history of these things, and it's easy for you to dismantle these terms. All right, so whenever you hear somebody say, oh, Columbus was looking for Asia, he wasn't looking for Asia, man. Why the hell didn't he bring nobody with him that could speak, their languages, man? All right, and they tell you flat out that he brought a Hebrew interpreter because he was looking for the Israelites. All right, and also cutting the fact of the matter of all the tribes of Israel are all black tribes. Like, nah, man. Again, why the hell did Columbus decide that, now granted there was some dark-skinned, so-called black-looking Israelites over here as far as Northern Kingdom Israelites. You have, was it Reuben? All right, you got a lot of them as dark-skinned, but as far as looking like, you see some of you so-called black folks, right? You think that you so-called black folks, but you actually Seminole Indians. There's an area around where I'm at. Hell, we got the Seminole Hard Rock Casino, but you have a couple of different areas, I could think of where when you go into these areas, it just look like a hood with a bunch of black people, but in reality, they all a bunch of Reubenites. All right, they all actually Seminole Indians over there, man. All right, but going into this here article or this here uh, piece about Luis de Torres. All right, it says Luis de Torres was employed by Christopher Columbus as an interpreter on the first voyage to the New World. Prior to this, Torres held a position with Juan Charcon, governor of America, a province where there was a large number of Jews. So, hey, he come from a place where there was a large number of Jews, right? Now, you have to understand, they're not telling you that these Jews right here are so-called Negroes at this point in time. Now, you would have to do your history of this time frame, and you would see who was in charge in these places. And as they're going to describe certain words, you would see the transformation of Jake being replaced with Esau. All right. So it says, as a Hebrew, says he was a governor of America, a province where there was a large number of Jews, as a Hebrew interpreter, because he was they say Jewish, but because he was a Jew. This was during the era of the Inquisition. Now, you go into looking up, it says during the era of the Inquisition, which is a key point of that, all right? And it says, let me see. I read this the other day. But I'm not going to read all of this, but just going into this, was like, it says the Inquisition was a group of institutions within the Catholic Church, all right, Esau was taking over, whose aim was to combat heresy, conducting trials of suspected heretics. All right, so again, let me see. Let me jump on down to... let me just read. This is going to be quite a bit, but it says during the late Middle Ages and the early Renaissance. Again, you have to understand what's the Renaissance era. All right, the rebirth of Esau coming back up out of them caves. Now, again, going into this here hearsay and the Renaissance and the Inquisition, what it's basically saying, again, knowing this jargon of what's going on, Jake was in control, right? You had the end of the Dark Ages. Jake was in control, right? Then you had Esau that came and made a rebirth, or the Renaissance era, where he was coming up out of them caves and everything else like that, taking Jake over. So now they had what they so-called Catholic Church, and it was, how do I say, Slovakia. Give me 1 second. Damn incense about to burn up the stand here. But what you had going on was basically what you had going on was basically Jake was getting taken out of power, all right, and Esau was coming into power at that point in time. So, hey, you had the Renaissance period, the rebirth of Esau, right? And the time of the Inquisition, which we were reading about, which is basically taking down Jake, all right, in this here time frame, man. All right, it says, during the late Middle Ages and the early Renaissance, the scope of the Inquisition grew significantly in response to the Protestant Reformation and the Catholic Counter-Reformation. During this period, the Inquisition conducted by the Holy See was known known as the Roman Inquisition. All right, so, hey, this is basically, because again, you have to understand the, you know, like the Byzantine Empire, we was controlling over there, and in Europe and everything. We was in power, man. All right. It says, and again, if you don't understand these things, when you read these terms, the Spaniards, Spain, Romans, and everything, if you don't understand who was in control at that point in time, you would just think these are just all Edomites, man. This was them the whole time. See, they was them back in those days. There's them. No, man, you look up who was these people at that time period, and you would know this was us. All right. It says the Inquisition also expanded to other European countries, resulting in the Spanish Inquisition and the Portuguese Inquisition. The Spanish and the Portuguese Inquisitions focused particularly on the Arianism, people who were forced to abandon Judaism against their will, and on Muslim converts to Catholicism. So now, why do they say Muslim converts? Now, you have to understand about what had happened to us, man. All right, throughout the time, the frame of us being captured up by those them Arabs and converting us into how they call it to Islam, basically. All right, notice they didn't say you know, they said the people were converted from Judaism and then Muslim converts. They never even mentioned Arabs, all right, because they was talking about us. We were, you know, when you talk about the Moors in Spain, you know, our religion at that point in time was Islam, right? So when we were taken down in Spain and everything else like that, this is the time frame that they're referring to, the Inquisition. So let's read a little further down. It says, the Spanish and Portuguese Inquisition focused particularly on the Anuism, people who were forced to abandon Judaism against their will. So they forced us against our will, right? And on Muslim converts to Catholicism. The scale of the persecution converting Muslims and converted Jews in Spain and Portugal was the result of the suspicion that they had secretly reverted to their previous religions, going back to being the Israelites, right? Going back to the Lost Statutes Commandments, basically. Although both religion minority groups were also more numerous than the Iberian on the Iberian Peninsula and other parts of Europe. So, you know, the point there was that the fact of the matter, this Inquisition and the times that you're reading about, or those time frames, and we're going to go back to this Luis de Torres, was us being replaced at that point in time. Now, they're going to go further into that here about Luis de Torres. So going back to Luis de Torres, it says, because he was Jewish, and this was during the era of the Inquisition, it was necessary for him to convert to Catholicism by force of the sword. All right, we just read about that. And what he did the day before the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa Maria set sail on August 2nd, 1492. The voyage, listen to this, the voyage also coincided with the expulsion of all Jews in Spain. Now, when they say, you know, because these Edomites love to take, and oh, we've been persecuted throughout all the time and kicked out of all these different countries. Now, granted, you know, a lot of them, they did certain things like what they're doing now. Right now, if you take all this here so-called Jewish stuff out of context and everything else like that, and you just look at the economy and how everything is being ran, and you understand who's really running everything, you regular everyday ass Americans against them because of the economic situations that's going on, because they the ones that rule every damn thing, man. I bring this up all the time, but you can't say anything about that. But they try to claim that they've been persecuted of all these things. But no, there was a point in time where Jake was ruling every damn thing, all right, and then they came and took us up out of power. But it was known, you know, around the world, that how the Jews was expelled from out of all these places, which was the Israelites, us. And we was, like the scriptures say, we was scattered into the four corners of the earth, man. We went through the sub-Saharan slave trade. We went through the transatlantic slave trade. There was even one over in basically over to like Asia and everything else like that, man. All right, so hey, you know, this is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans history, man. All right, you know, we're reading over here about the so-called Negroes, but hey, before well, really from 1492 up to 1619, all right, and it was transporting you Northern Kingdom Israelites over to the other side, man. All right, but it says the voyage also coincided with the expulsion of all Jews from Spain. Now let's read about this Luis de Torres guy and why he was not looking for Asia, all right? And he knew who he was going to go look for. It says because he was versed in Hebrew, Aramaic, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Latin, and some Arabic, Columbus had thought that he would be helpful upon their arrival. Especially helpful would be his knowledge of the Hebrew and Aramaic, as Columbus fully expected to encounter, it says Asian descendants, but he had fully encountered to encounter descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. So going into those things, man, Columbus knew that he was looking for the Israelites over here in America. He brought a man that could speak Hebrew, which was a Jew, all right, that was in control, not in control, but they was in power actually over there, but they was being taken out of power during the Inquisition time, man. So you have to understand and think about the things. The people that's over there in Spain, they wasn't always up in Spain like that, man. You have to go back to the Renaissance era and the Inquisition. One is, like we tell you now, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That was the reverse order at that point in time, man. That was the end of our reign and the beginning of Esau's reign. The Inquisition was us going out, and the Renaissance was them being built back up, all right? So if you understand these things, you know, when you hear these certain things like, oh, Columbus was looking for Asia. No, the hell he wasn't looking for Asia. Why the hell was he bringing a Hebrew interpreter? He said out his own mouth he was looking to go find the Hebrews, man. He was going to go, or the Israelites will use that terminology. They spoke Hebrew, you know, and that's who he was looking for, man. That's the place he was looking for. He wasn't looking for damn Asia, man. They had been over there all the damn time already, man. They had maps. They know how to get there, man. You're going in a completely different direction, all right? So, hey, you know, it's like me saying, hey, from where I'm at, you know, Miami is south from me. It's like, yeah, I done been in Miami a million times. You know, I got to get on, you know, well, from where I'm at, 75 south, you know, obviously you got to go over to 95. But anyway, you're like, oh, I done been there a million times, or let's just say Georgia. I done been at Georgia and Atlanta. In fact, I was born up that way. You know what I'm saying? Been up there a million times, 75 north, all the way till you get there, right? But then I get on the interstate and I go 75 south and saying, oh, I'm trying to go to Atlanta. I'm like, bro, you've been on this track a million times before. You know that you're not going to get to Atlanta going 75 south. You got to go 75 north. You know what I'm saying? But you know, this is the ideology that they have going on. But going back to what I'm saying, it's the fact of the matter. The more you know about these things, the more you can see through these lies, man. So when you hear about Ye speaking on these certain things like the DEF CON situation, if you know that terminology, like, well, that's not what he was saying, or that's not what he was implying. You put that into his mouth, right? You know about these different things. And going into how come our people don't understand these things? Again, hey, man, the scriptures say if our gospel be hid, it's hid to those that are blinded, man. The God of this world has blinded them, man. All right, and then going back to, you know, the conversation I had with somebody the other day about these things, you know, we're going to grab those scriptures shortly, but going into these things, you know, it's like, hey, man, it wasn't for them to get, man. All right, you know, give me 1 second. And also going into that third temple being built, man. You know, you seen that being built right before you, as far as, hey, the men of the Lord waking up, calling back out on the Lord's name. All right, because the importance of all the temple was what? To worship the Lord, man. All right, and it's you know, the scriptures say we worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. All right, we edified. It's funny, I was having this conversation with that person and trying to break that all down to him, and it was funny how the Spirit just came to. It's like, look, right now, it's like you came to the temple of the Most High. You're learning about these things, right? And we over here talking about this and that, but we're not in a physical temple. You didn't have to go here, you didn't have to go there, but look, you just came to me, and look, I've already, you know, made my body a living sacrifice to know all these. Whenever you have these questions that you're asking, I'm already, you know, the Lord has already had that, put that in my mind to be able to answer you with these things and find them in the scriptures for, you know, what about this, what about that? All right, look, check it out. And in fact, when they was asking me about this stuff, I was at work, you know, when it started hitting them, and I was like, you know, remember when we was talking earlier that early in the day that we was talking, I was like, remember when you called me earlier and you was asking me about this, and I told you, look, go in your scriptures to, we're going to get it, Revelation 5, Revelation 14. All right, now let's go to Amos chapter 3. All right, now let's go, you know, from point A to point B to point A to point B. I was like, you know, when you had asked me those things, I wasn't, like, prepped for the question. It's not like you text me, hey, I'm going to ask you about this, get a lesson together, and I'm going to call you at this point in time, we're going to get it all together. It wasn't like that, man. All right, it was more like, you know, hey, I just happened to see this. Can you tell me about that? You came across some shit, and then you all of a sudden contacted me out of nowhere, man. All right, and was asking and demanding for a breakdown at this point in time. The script say be in season and out of season. All right, it's really not the time for all that right now. I'm at work, but hey, at the same time, hey, we good to go. Go ahead, let's just go ahead and go through it. You know, while I'm working, yeah, you got your scriptures with you. Okay, open up your scriptures to this. Open up your scriptures to that. Open up. Now you know. See, look, you in the temple right now. Even though you on the phone over there, I'm on the phone over here. I'm at work. You know what I'm saying? But look, you're able to come to the Lord and to understand these things, man. Why? Because you know, prior time I had made my body a living sacrifice. Now you coming into the temple to connect with the Lord. All right. Hey, this is the third temple being built right before your eyes, man. All right. You're not gonna have to go inside the actual building and everything else like that. You know, in this here point in time, man. But you know, and understanding all these things. Hey, if you understand these things, things become more clear unto you, man. All right. But let's go into the flip side to that. You know, why? How come Jake don't understand these things, man? Why don't they know about these things? For one, the Lord has, you know, set up his prophets, all right, and made them, you know, and going back to Habakkuk 2. You know, we started out on that, man. All right, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it, man. This is why you got the men of the Lord that's on the highways and the byways, week in and week out, going into lessons back to back to back to back to back. You know, some of the most important lessons, and we hit those topics all the time, man. All right, that's why you see a billion videos on the MOTB, billion videos on all the final prophecies, man. Telling you who Jake is, man. You know, we got to get in a little bit more into that. You know, that's almost like a milk lesson. All right, talking about, you know, who Jake is, and Jake is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But hey, how much more in a time like this is it a perfect time to go back to those simple milk scriptures, man? So that there's no controversy on these things. There's none of this back and forth debate of these things, man. You know, as I was speaking, Lords will get it. So I was speaking to these here, this person, and they was talking about, you know, these folks over there shaking and humping this here wall and everything else, talking about something they got a third temple. I was like, look, didn't the scriptures tell you that Joseph, his brothers didn't recognize him when he was living with the Pharaoh and everything else like that? Now, Joseph was an Israelite, right? Now, his brothers didn't recognize him because he was amongst, what, them Egyptians. What color was them Egyptians back then? They got him painted on the wall. They were so-called black people at that point in time. Wasn't Moses the same way, raised up in the Pharaoh's house as the Pharaoh's grandson, basically? You know what I'm saying? Nobody else knew the difference. They knew that they pretty much found that child, but hey, they couldn't tell because why? The same skin color, right? But then when the Most High come meet Moses and and tell Moses, put your hand in your bosom, you know what I'm saying, and put it back out forward, or Miriam them was turned white as snow, like, well, what color was they beforehand if they was turned to white as snow, man? So you have to ask yourself, like, oh shit, these people, they ain't the same people, man. Oh, it ain't about this, it ain't about the, hey, man, the Lord has made a distinction between us and them. But again, the more you know about these things, it's harder for you to be persuaded any other type of way. All right, that's why, you know, when you speak to us about these things, and, you know, when people come up and tell us, that book is the so-called white man's book. Y'all read that's the white man's book. He wrote that to control you, keep you down and everything. Like, bro, you have never read the scriptures, or if you have, you haven't read it with the right understanding, because this book condemns them. This book tells us how we're going to have them in captivity, how they're about to serve us, how the Most High loved us and hated Esau, man. So what are you talking about, man? This book is against them. They really don't want you to have the understanding of this scripture, because it's the one thing that really proves who they are and condemns them, man. So we know that you don't have the real understanding, or have never read this book, based off of just your assumption of what's inside the scriptures, man. All right. You know, they also have the terminology, oh, your boy King James was a homosexual, and he was part of these people and everything else like that. Like, and he translated the scriptures. You know what they tell you about them in the scriptures, what you're supposed to be doing with these modes, right? But then all of a sudden, he translated all this, and he was the king, and he could have taken that out, and that was part of his people. Come on, man. Don't even make no sense. But again, the unlearned person, they be like, oh yeah, I believe that. Yep, I believe that. You know, King James. Hey, I was doing a little bit of research and study about that, about King James, not King James, but the first people that was coming over here. You know, when they had it was basically different countries at the time: Spain, France, the English, and I believe the Dutch. But they was talking about how King James, basically the one who translated the scriptures, came over with and occupied, what was it, Jamestown, I believe, in Virginia or something like that. And then like Charlestown, which is Charleston, South Carolina, was for his son, all right, or North Carolina, South Carolina, one of the Carolinas. But anyway, but they was just going through a timeline. It wasn't even about King James. It was just about, it was a timeline of things that was going on. But they got up to King James and everything else like that. And they mentioned, you know, him translating the Bible, I believe in like 1607 or something like that. You know, we have the 1611 Bibles, but it was like 1607. And in fact, they had brought out a point that the first Bible that was translated here in America wasn't even in English. It was in the native, one of the Native American languages that they spoke, right? But anyway, going into this here thing, they had made a point. And again, if you don't know the history, you weren't gonna catch it. They was talking about King James, then his son King Charles, and right after that, you know, they said that there was basically a time period of where they had a so-called separation of church and state, and some other things that was going on. But what was really going on was the takeover of Jake was ruling, and they took it over, and then Esau started ruling at that point in time, man. All right, and hijacked that lineage and that family line and everything else, and then they pretty much came back, and it was a whole completely different ball game, man. All right, but again, if you don't understand what's really going on in this here time frame, you would just think, oh, these are just all these Edomites doing all these things. Nah, man, we was ruling over there at that point in time, but we was taken out of power in that same time frame, man. All right, so hey, you know, you know, it's just like seeing American history. You got all these Edomite presidents and everything else like that. Then all of a sudden, you know, you have a bunch of Jake presidents that's going down the line and everything. And you look back in history, like, well, how is it there was a bunch of Edomites that was president for like hundreds of years, and all of a sudden now you got like a bunch of Jakes? What happened in that time frame? We just see the pictures, but we don't know the story of what happened. You know, that, hey, that's the history that they tried hiding. All right, but let's go back into this in Revelation chapter 5, right? Going into how come our people don't understand and know these things, man. All right, you know, hey, for one, it wasn't given unto them to know these things. All right, and two, you know, like the scriptures say, you need to seek the Lord early while he may be found. Again, going back to this Yate thing, we know about Amos 8 and 11. Let's pull that real quick. This is Amos 8 and 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst for water, but of hearing the word of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, from the north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. All right, and that day shall the fair virgins and the young men faint for thirst. So, hey, you know, there's going to come a point in time, you know, as you're looking for this here truth, you're looking for answers, you're not going to be able to find it. And we see that is approaching right now, man. Again, going off of the things that you see going on with Ye and the you know, again, they saying the most hateful things that he's saying and so on and so forth. Hey, I didn't hear him saying about killing nobody, harming nobody. All he said was, hey, who he was according to the scriptures. All right, he just, hey, we the Israelites according to the scriptures, man. All right, and that's what we've been out here preaching to you, man. But we know that, hey, since they over there canceling them from all these big platforms for saying that, you know what I'm saying? Hey, and like I said, the irony of it all is here in Babylon the Great, they're pushing and promoting for you to claim to be whoever and whatever you want to be here, man. All right, the more the merrier. You know, I said beforehand, man, if I was out here to say that I was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman, all right, that would be pushed and promoted out here, man. I would be upheld in this here place. I'm a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 76-year-old pregnant white woman out here. Oh, congratulations for coming out and being your true self and everything. Hey, but you say you're an Israelite. That's apparently it's the most hateful thing that you can say, man. All right, you're the real children of Israel, man. All right, you have the same bloodline of Hamashiach, man. All right, oh, you can't say these things. This is the most hateful thing that you could be saying, and so on and so forth, man. And also saying that these people running on everything. When you look up, if you can go look up all these top corporations and find out who owns all these places, you'll find out the truth of who owns what, man. It's not a secret, man. It's like, you know, the deeds are all there. You know what I'm saying? It's not saying nothing hurtful or nothing harmful. Hey, if it was Jake that was running and ruling everything, we'd be, hell yeah, I own all this shit. I own the whole block, bro. We stunting on these niggas out here, man. We got so, you know, Jake be happy to say that they claim and own every damn thing, man. But hey, it's not a good thing to say that you own everything when everything that you own is producing wickedness. That's the problem with saying that these people own everything, because all their institutions is pushing wickedness. All right, you know, going into this conversation piece that I had again with this here person talking about, they call it the Antichrist, and these people, oh, the Antichrist is about to be coming and this and that. I'm like, look, wait a minute, man. Go back to what the basics. All right, you know, against, you know, basically saying it's against the Lord, right? His ways, right? So now think of this here, they think it's one person coming, but look at the system that you're living under right now, man. This whole system that's being pushed and promoted. You got that protests going on over here in Iran, all right? You know, well, about the lady that got killed, but then also about the hijab, right? These women being all covered up. I'm like, well, what is America pushing onto these people over there, man? That these women should be walking around like these women in America is walking around, man. All right, it's bad out here too, man. I heard a rapper the other day talking about something that these BBLs that's not the move no more. When you talk about these grimy ass rappers saying BBLs is not the move no more, you know there's something is wrong out here, man. All right, because hey, man, this shit's just wickedness, man. To the point where wicked niggas is even abhorred by this wickedness is going on out here, man. So, but going into these things, man, hey, man, these women in those Middle Eastern countries is all dressed up from head to toe, right? And their hijabs and everything else like that. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like, look, you see men and women, a couple, walking down a damn block, but this here woman got her whole body showing, man. Ass cheeks all hanging out the bottom of her shorts. And what is a natural man gonna do when he see that pass by? He gonna turn and look. Now you lusting after another man, woman, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? And this here woman is being objectified. You want the whole population, you pushing this here agenda on all these other nations, man. Where they have, you know, children being born out of wedlock, or children not being born out of wedlock. You know what I'm saying? Marriages staying together. All right, you know, you don't have anxiety, depression, and all these different things skyrocketing like you do here in America. The majority of you Americans is on some type of antidepressant, anti-anxiety drugs over here, man. All right, you all bugged the hell out over here, but then you think that your way is so right that you should push this on everybody else. All right, you got these kids going to school, purple hair, and this and that, man. You got these damn kids, or young generation, I call them kids now, I'm getting old, but these kids nowadays getting mad because they got to work a 40-hour work week at the damn job site, man. Like, what the hell is that about? Like, everybody else in every other generation had to show up to goddamn go to work. You the one talking about something you want to do 30-something hours in the comfort of your own home in your pajamas all day long, and that the person is requiring you to come to the office for 40 hours a week is a slave driver, man. This is where we at right about now, man. All right, these are the snowflakes that you got growing up in the 8. Everybody's tired of these things, man. Everybody's tired of these people and these agendas and everything else like that, but yet and still, you can't say nothing about it, man. You can't, again, you can claim to be any of this here wicked shit out here that they pushing and promoting, but you can't be an Israelite. But going back to this anti-Hamashiach or anti-Christ system, I had to ask this person, like, look, the things that they're pushing and promoting, whether it be the community guidelines, you know, and when I say the community, I'm talking about the, you know, them people, them moles out there, man, the community like that, man. They pushing this on your children and everything else like that, all right, pushing you to go get a blue and purple hair tattooed all up, you know, get you an OnlyFans, all right, you know, twerking and busting it wide open, go get BBLs. This is society that's pushing and promoting you to go do all of these different things, man. Oh, don't worry about having a family and getting married. Just go out there and sell your body on OnlyFans. This is empowering women. Now, is this you know, how do I say, against what the Lord has spoken on, or is this in line with what the Lord will be telling you to do, man? The Lord said, hey, man, a woman should only be with one man, all right? You know, but instead, think, you know, ask these women who got all the different sex partners in their whole life. They should have a documentary, which they have documentaries about this, but they should do a full documentary called an interview with a porn star, and ask them how their life is really going and everything else like that. You had a epidemic of these women killing themselves a couple years back, man. All right, I think when the pandemic started, because they had to go home to their lonely homes. They had these big ass homes, but they was all jumping out off the balconies, man. Why is that? Because when they was going home to their damn dog, man. They didn't have their whole family. They was scared in the house. Their family had abandoned them for the life choices that they made. They didn't have no real men in their life to call their significant other. Nobody really took them serious like that. They had all this money, was free to go sexually liberate themselves, but then what? Why was they committing suicide, man? It wasn't all happy or nothing else like that. But hey, what society is more beneficial for you? Which way of living is more beneficial for you, man? All right, the way that they're pushing and promoting, is that what the Lord would be promoting? Or, the way that this here world is promoting these things, man? All right, just go do whatever you want to go do. There's no consequences for these things. Just go do what you got to go and do. But yet and still, hey, man, these people can't back this up with the, how do I say, the fruits of their labors, man. Oh, I took this Babylonian advice and now my life is a billion times better. No, the story is actually the opposite, man. I took this Babylonian advice and, man, I wish I would have never done that. I wish somebody would have told me right from the beginning. I wish I would have never did, you have people that got their whole damn bodies tattooed up. Man, I wish I would have never done that. Now I can't get no job nowhere. I'm forced to be homeless. I'm forced to go do this. I'm forced to go do that. I wish I would have never opened up OnlyFans. Now I get fired from my job. Don't nobody want to marry me, take me serious. My kids, are embarrassed. My kids getting bullied at school. You know what I'm saying? All kind of crazy shit. So, hey, where's the happy in the story from following this Babylonian advice, man? All right, so again, is this way of life in line with what the Lord says, or is it against these things, man? So you have to ask yourself, man, are we living, are you still waiting on one man to come and turn this here place out? Or is this place already turned out, man? Is the things that America pushing and promoting around the globe, is this with the Lord and his standards and everything, or is it the opposite of those things, man? The Lord said, hey, he created every fruit with the seed bearing inside of itself. Hey, the anti of that is what? Hey, GMO foods, man. You know what I'm saying? All these different weird things that they have going on, man. And the Lord gave you lawful meats and unlawful meats to eat, right? But then they tell you, nah, we just want you to just be eating straight up vegetables all goddamn day. Now the new thing is we just want you to be eating bugs all damn day now. All right? Processed foods and everything else like that, man. All right? A man with a man and a woman with a woman. All right? Which is it's not, you already know what that breeds. But, you know what I'm saying? Hey, again, what society do you think that we're living in, man? All right? But see, our people don't have, the scripture say, blessed are your eyes will see the things that you see and hear the things that you hear. All right? Many righteous men and kings. Let me grab that real quick, and we'll get back to the Revelation 5. All right, this is let me go back one page. Matthew 13 and we start at 13. It says, therefore speak out to them in parables, because they see and see not, and hear and hear not, neither do they understand. So hey, you have people, like I said, dealing in this here scenario, talking about something. Oh, they said the Antichrist is about to be coming, and I'm this and that. Like, look, see and see not, and hear and they hear not, neither do they understand. Like, bro, and one side of your mouth, you complain about how wicked this here place is. Now, the things they tell you the Antichrist is going to be doing, are you not already living in that type of scenario? Is this here place, from the beginning, have they been pushing and promoting the ways of the Lord the whole damn time, man? Living a righteous life according to the scriptures from day one. All right, you have these modern day Christians that's out here in America. They even complain about these things, man. All right, but yet and still, like, yo, when was America really ever upholding these things, man? All right, they teach you in school Edomite history, but you can't learn the history of the Israelites. They took the Bible up out of school. All right, you can't pray. And, you have even though all this stuff that they doing is not the proper way and is wicked anyway. But just the ideology of these things is like, the fact of the matter is that you can't sit there and read the Bible in school. All right. Can't pray in school, but you can read books about two little homosexuals and everything else like that, man. Teaching this to your children, all right? But yet and still, you want to say that this is a so-called God-fearing country. This is a Christian country. They uphold so-called Christian values. All right, this is a demonic-ass Christian values that they over here upholding, man. But when we come out on the highways and the byways and we actually read from the scriptures, there's an issue with that, man. When we tell you, thus saith the Lord this way, thus saith the Lord that way, people have problems with these things. But then you also have problems with the effects of doing it the opposite way, man. All right, the Lord say, hey, look, let's just say, for instance, using an example, don't mix fire and gas together. But then you will complain, why you got to tell me how to live my life? Don't tell me how to live my life. Don't tell me how to do this and don't go do that. I'm going to go live my life and do whatever, however I want. Then your ass go over there and put fire and gasoline together, and then your shit blow all up in your face. Now you all, oh, somebody pray for me. this is wrong. How come ain't nobody warn me? Well, hey, we tried to warn you. You didn't want to listen. You didn't want to take heed to the word of the Lord. Now you have to suffer the consequences of these things, man. All right. So going back, well, let me just keep on reading down in this Matthew 13. Matthew 13:13. Therefore speak out to them in parables, because they see and see not, and hear and hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Elias, which by saying, by hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you shall not perceive. All right, and hey, again, our people go to church week in and week out, read about the scriptures. It's funny, I was having this conversation with the same person. You know, we was going back and forth the other day, but I was like, hey man, all the years that you've been going to church, you ain't never heard about an Israelite ever in your life going to church. Never heard about an Edomite ever going to church. You know what I'm saying? You never heard about the Israelites at all. The 12 tribes, none of that stuff going to church, man. But you done went to church your whole entire life and never heard of the Israelites. That's crazy. The whole book is about the Israelites, but you've never heard of the Israelites in the scriptures ever. Like, that should tell you something wrong with these things when the whole book is about them, man. All right, people say, oh, this is some new type of thing, this, and that. Like, you know, when people have that conversation, oh, y'all, those Israelites and this, and that. Like, bro, that should be a flag. You already know that they don't have no understanding about nothing. They don't even have the foundations of the Bible. That's the backbone of the Bible, man. Telling you about what it's all about, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like me saying something about the, let's say, which group do I want to, I was going to use this different group from Germany, but then they might try to flag this by saying that. But if I was to say something about the Soviet Union soldiers, right? You know what they call the Red Army, the Soviet Union. Oh, the Soviets. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I'm over here talking about the Soviets, and then you trying to figure out what type of people these are. I'm like, obviously, you know, I know that you don't know anything about history. You're like, well, who was the Soviets? Those like, you know, Africans or something? Like, no, nigga, the Soviets. You know, if I'm speaking about the Soviets, yeah, and the Russians and such and such. Wait, is it the Soviets or is it the Russians? Like, nigga, it's the same people. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, you wouldn't know no difference to these things, man. It's just like us talking about the, when they say, oh, the black Hebrew Israelites and these guys, this and that. Wait, first of all, it's the Israelites. According to the scriptures, these are the people that they talk about in the Bible, man. All right, they go through the same things, man. All right, been in this captivity and all these different things is going on. Hey, our history more aligns to, you know, our modern day history more aligns to, really all of our history. But I'm saying, you know, our modern day history more aligns with the people in the scriptures, man. You talk about the captivity in Egypt and letting my people go and everything else like that. Hey, who's still in captivity even unto the same day? Who could say, hey, let my people go, man? All right, up under, growing up in oppression up under another people, man. Whose babies was killed off, you know what I'm saying, by the droves and everything else like that, man. All right, who's a byword and proverb amongst the nations, man. All right, that's us, you know, comparably to the Israelites in the scriptures. We fit those descriptions, man. All right, the scriptures say that our spirit beareth witness with the spirit that we are the children of the Most High, man. We fit those descriptions, man. All right. Being the poor, the lowly, and everything else like that, man. In comparison to these small hats over here that own up every damn thing, man. All right, but getting still, hey, man. You know, hey, and the scriptures say we the salt of the earth. All right, we all over the place, man. Everybody on the whole face of the earth have then come across some so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans at least once in their life. They seen them being entertained by them on TV, man. How often do you see these little small hats, man? You really have to dig deep to try to find out where these people at, man. You know, some people live their whole life and never really come across these. I mean, now you may have some people that so-called go back to that, but I'm saying like the how they call them folks, the ones with the little hats and the little locks and then the little black suits and everything else like that, man. Hasidic, I believe they call them. Like, you gotta go to like certain places like New York or some shit to see them motherfuckers walking around like that. But in just your normal everyday life, most people in certain places, like I know down in the South, you don't see them people walking around like that, man. All right, but yet and still, hey, I thought you was scattered amongst the four corners of the earth. I thought you was gonna be the salt of the earth. We should be able to see you in representation on every damn thing. We should, if you the salt of the earth, you should be entertaining the earth, man. You should be giving the earth flavor, man. You know what I'm saying? You should be represented in basketball with these, instead of just shooting the ball normally, or dribbling the ball normally, you should be doing some crossovers, man. You should be doing some dunks, and not no conventional dunk. You just do all that. You come up with a windmill, a reverse 360, alley-oop, you know what I'm saying? Running the football into the end zone and celebrating, creating dance styles, and, you know, TikTok dance, all that's created by Jake, because, wow, they just salted the earth. They didn't took somebody else's platform and seasoned that motherfucker with a little bit of that sauce on there, man. But yet and still, hey, our people, hey, they don't have the eyes to see these things, man. They don't have the ears to hear these things. They don't understand these things, man. They'll sit there and be like, well, these folks, because they claim to be those folks, man. We don't have to claim to be these people, but we still fit the description, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, look, you can say somebody that's walking around saying that they rich all damn day long, But you see them walking up and down the block, ain't got no goddamn car, a pot to piss in, or a window to throw it out of. Versus another nigga that you see is like, he ain't dressed all well or nothing else like that. But hey, you see that his name is on all the tops of these buildings on the whole damn block, man. You know what I'm saying? He own this, he own that, he own this, he own that. He ain't got to tell you how rich he is, but you know that his name is on the buildings of all this shit that's down the block, man. Like, well, hey, look, he ain't got to say so, but I mean, I can see the fruits of his labor. You know what I'm saying? The tree, you'll know a tree by its fruits. His name is on all these buildings over here, man. This guy out here claiming to be rich, but yet and see, he got all this fake ass looking jewelry on. It look real and everything, but he always need a ride somewhere. He ain't even got to, you know what I'm saying? He's staying on somebody else's couch, man. So you can claim to be rich, but hey, where's the fruits at, man? Where's the proof in it, man? We don't see these things. So hey, talking about who the real Israelites are, man. Hey, we fit that description, man. All right. Going back to that Matthew 13 and 15. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have they closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and they should understand with their hearts, and should be converted, and I shall heal them. And this rang true to a lot of jakes, man. You can sit there and break it all the way down into them, man. All right, you can spend hours and hours and hours on end telling them about these things. Look, here go to history. Look, this is what happened with this. We're going to show you images. We're going to even let Esau tell you these things and everything else like that. And they'll just be like, yeah, but, you know, the Lord, his color don't matter. What his color matter and everything. Like, why would they give, if his color didn't matter, why did they give you the color, his skin color in the scriptures, man? Why were these things brought forth, man? All right, you know, all these other things, they'll sit there and fight tooth and nail about these things because it wasn't given unto them to understand, man. Least that they will be converted and the Lord will heal them. Hey, man, it's for them to be blinded out just because, look, at the end all be all, hey, these were the same ones that say, crucify him, let his blood be on our hands and on our children's hands, man. So, hey, now, hey, you denied the Lord then, you going to deny the Lord now, or the Lord going to force you to deny him at this point in time, man. So you're not going to ever be able to get it. You're not going to be saved out here, man. I see the likeness of your boy, and I done lost I ain't really had no respect for him beforehand, but all credibility, all respect for Charlemagne and shit he be talking about nowadays. Like, bro, you talking about some Ye over here craving for Edomite validation, but that's what you over there doing, man. I can't wait to see the day when the Most High judge your fucking ass, man. You gonna just be sitting over there with your little bald fucking head looking like, man, I can't wait till the Most High judge that nigga, man. And that day, man, I hope he has to get to sit there and look at the Lord eye to eye. Talking about, because he be Jesus ain't coming back. And this and that. And, man, you putting Esau up on a pedestal while your people down and below, and then you in the face of your people trying to sell them. Man, I hope the Lord preserve your ass and you meet the Lord face to face, man. I really hope the Lord meet you face to fucking face, man. And the world get to see your ass getting put to shame, man. I hope the Lord make a living mockery of your ass, man. So the whole world can see, man. Or at least all of Jake get to see, man. Right? Well, matter of fact, all the whole world, Esau and Jake, man. I want them Edomites, man. We're not gonna go too far on that nigga, but nevertheless, man, and him and all the people that's like him, man. All right, but he's in a high platform, putting our people down right about now, man. He fighting more for Amalek and it's his scenario than our own people, man. All right, you know, and I know that they didn't got to his skin because, hey, I was like, damn, you going super hard for what he's saying to these other people, but you don't go this hard for when our people are doing other things to our people or other people are doing these things to our people like that, man. What kind of shit is this? And this is the same nigga who was telling that Biden told him that he wasn't black if you don't vote for him. This is the same nigga who was over here telling our people we had to vote for Biden and everything else like that. And now look at where we at right about now, man. And he done got his paycheck and he don't say nothing else about it no more. He's like, well, I got my paycheck and the elections is over, so now I'm going to the next white man and have him pay me off to go do X, Y, and Z, man. Searching for that white validation and everything else like that, man. Hey, man, you ain't really respected in, not to say in the hood like that, but amongst Jake like that, man. But it is what it is, man. All right, but, hey, Lord's will that man be preserved to that very day when the Lord make his return, man. All right, and he lived all the way up to the very end. The Lord's will, he had to look the Lord eye to eye, man. All right, I want to see this nigga trembling in his boots, man, for the mockery and the disrespect that he did towards the Lord, man. But to hell with that nigga, man. All right, but anyway, getting back to our people as far as them knowing and not understanding these things, all right, hey, some of them it wasn't for them to get it, all right? Some of them the Lord has blinded. Some of them, you know, is going to have to go through a certain process of waking up. We all had to have, you know, we all had events in our lives that woke us up. Some was more settled than others. Some was, a rude awakening, man. All right, some of us, you know, just stumbled across, you know, a video or so, you know what I'm saying, and seen something, and then maybe it was the harsh words and everything else like that that kind of, what the hell going on here? Or maybe the watching us in the garments. Maybe it was, you know, certain times they put us on the news. All right, maybe you was walking down the highways and the byways and you seen it. Hey, but look, with this here Ye situation, this is a big controversy that's going around. This shit was on RT. All right, this shit going global right about now. So, hey, man, for Jake to be able to use this as talking points, when Jake be talking, y'all heard about what Kanye doing this and that, like, hey, what he be saying is with so on and so forth, man. I had somebody else that know me from the world had mentioned that to me, like, this the same stuff I be preaching about, right? And this is exactly what I be talking about, right? And you see how they be working, like, so we try to tell you, these niggas is the devil, man. They would stop this man from saying all these different things, but yet and still they don't have all the power to do all these things. They didn't have the power, they didn't rule everything, they wouldn't have the power to do none of this shit, man. That's like when you asked on the flip side, how come you so-called Negroes don't ever cancel nobody for doing shit to us? All right, when these companies and these organizations do us wrong, how come we don't ever cancel them and shut them down? Because we don't have the power to do none of this shit, man. We don't own nothing. How the hell? It's like, look, you can say, hey, man, I kicked that nigga out of my house, man. That nigga was acting a fool. I kicked him out of my house. Why? Because I own the house. I got the power to kick him out of my house. Or if I'm renting in my house or something like that, I evicted him out the house. But then if I don't have a house, if I don't own a house, I can't go and evict somebody up out the house. I don't have the power to do that, man. Hey, hell, man, I can cuss you out all damn day, but that's not really doing nothing to you. But I can't be like, yo, you got to, by law, get up and move because I own this house and I'm evicting you out the house. I don't have the power to do that because I don't own the house. So the same thing with us, man. Showing you who really has the power in this here sense, man. But see, our people, they don't have the ears to hear. They don't have the eyes to see. And they're not going to understand, man. All right? The Lord has them blinded. All right? Continuing on, verse 15. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their eyes are dull of hearing. And their eyes have they closed, least at any time. They should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and should understand with their heart and should be converted, and I shall heal them. And that's what you're going to see. I was, again, talking to this person about this scenario. I was like, look, when you talk to all these people or anytime somebody bring up this here Ye conversation, around you and everything else like that, well, Kanye this, how niggas like to talk, right? Ask them what was so harmful or what was so hateful about what he said about those people, man. Ask them if they know who the Israelites are, man. And watch how high it go over these people's head, man. Who are the Israelites? I guess the people over there in Israel, Israelites, so on and so forth. Like, so you ain't never heard of these people inside the scriptures or anything else like that, man? You don't think that these people own every damn thing, man? You don't know any of these things. What was so hateful about just saying that he was an Israelite, man? In a time frame where you can claim to be any and every damn thing else on the planet Earth, you know what I'm saying? If you want, I identify as a planet, I identify as a rock, people applaud and cheer you, man. But you identify as an Israelite, there's a problem with that, man. All right? But yet and still, hey, ask your people about these things, man. But yet it's going to go all the way over their head. They're not going to understand these things, man. All right? It says, verse 16, blessed are your eyes, for they see, and for your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see and have not seen them, and to hear the things which you hear and have not heard them. So, hey, going into these things, like when they speak about Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, certain people that's aroused up by these scenarios that's going on, and talking about these things the way that we talking about it. Why does it make such a big deal to you? Why are you so concerned about this here topic? Why are you so this? Hey, blessed your eyes will see the things that you see, because the majority of Jake is going right over your head, man. This is the biggest secret that there is in the whole damn world, and yet it goes right over a lot of your heads, man. It goes completely over top of your head, and you have no idea what's going on. The biggest secret in your, it's just like, yo, the $700 trillion lotto numbers, right? They flash it on the screen, boom, but it's gonna go over your head. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, hey, these are the fake lotto numbers for tonight. You know what I'm saying? And people say, well, it says the fake ones. Yeah, but they told you they was going to expose the lotto numbers tonight on TV at this point in time, at this here channel, so on and so forth. But because you didn't listen to that programming, you would never know that when you see, it says fake on there. You would never fucking know it, man. And then you'd be mad, well, how come ain't nobody tell me? How come this and that, and so on and so forth, man? Hey, but again, it wasn't for you to get. It wasn't for you to understand, man. All right? And, hey, it's a gift and it's a blessing at the same time. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. All right, hey, it's a blessing to you. Blessed are your eyes to see the things that you see. It's a blessing unto you that you see these things. It's a blessing unto you. You call halal Yahweh Shemi Awashah, man. I done caught this here information, man. Because hey, I'm right here. I caught the information, and this motherfucker didn't even catch the information, man. I'm about to go cash in on this here lotto ticket, man. I don't know how this nigga didn't know. It's like you in a crowd of people and everything else like that, and somebody done dropped the 20, and you the only one that seen that 20 or that $100 bill. Like, oh shit. We all right here, but I'm the only one who was be able to, let me go ahead and put that in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody else see this shit. Let me keep it moving now, man. But yet and still you have that Jake that's going to be out here, man. I'm out here starving, need some money, and this and that. The money fell right there by your damn feet, but you'll never see it, man. You'll just keep on complaining and move on down the block and everything else like that, man, because you're more focused on the wrong thing, man. All right? So blessed are your eyes will see the things that you see and hear the things that you hear, man. All right, you know, and some of these things you have to understand. Some of these conversations, you know, you ask yourself, why am, you know, people ask you maybe, why you always watching the videos? Why you always doing this? Why you always doing that? For instances like this, you see the whole Ye conversation now. This for, you know, you just probably just coming to the truth, you know, and you hear these things and now, oh, it's a face booster, because now the things that you stumbled across on the internet watching the videos, now it's reassuring you of what you was learning and believing in is actually true, right? But then now you can go back to when people asking why you be spending all your time listening to that and doing this and that. But see, now when you know, like when you heard the calling, you identified with it, man. You understood what was going on, whereas your friend that asking you why you spend so much time watching the videos, it went completely over their head, man. All right, they just not gonna be able to see these things, man. They just not gonna be able to understand these things like that, man. So hey, it's a blessing unto you, but then also a curse unto them. All right, because like I said, it's gonna just go right over their head. They'll never understand it, man. They'll never see these things, man. All right, let's go into Revelation chapter 5, verse 1. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on a throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. All right, and you know, going into the scriptures, right? Now, so you have to have an understanding. Matter of fact, let me grab a precept real quick. Oop, too far. I'm gonna read 2 different verses, and I'm gonna jump real quick. This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. It says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. All right, so hey, shut up the words to the end. All right, so you have to have an understanding that, look, there's gonna be a point in time from, you know, well, hell, there was even a point in time back then, all right, all the way up to the time when Yahushua got on the scene, man, that the books were sealed, all right? Well, we'll get to there. But anyway, there was a point in time where even you know, from a certain point in time all the way up until when Yahushua was on the scene, where, you know, the books was pretty much sealed, you know? You had people coming in and preaching and teaching their own types of ways and all kind of madness that was going on, man. Straying further and further away from the truth. All right, Yahushua came on the scene, and with his disciples, he was telling them the true doctrine, man, teaching them the right way. All right, there was that falling away, you know, but then, hey, Yahushua was came forth and sent forth his you know, the apostles and the disciples to go forth and to tell the people, man, hey, this is the right way to do things, right? But even after that, there was a falling away. All right, another falling away, like the scriptures say, there must be a falling away first. All right, was that 2 Thessalonians chapter 2? I believe it is. All right, going into that falling away first, that had to happen. All right, then where that was the point of where what all this knowledge had then came up, you know, fell from our, how do I say, you know, our knowledge banks, more or less to say, man. We didn't know who we were. All right, but it says in verse 9, it says, and he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. So the words were closed up and sealed to the times of the end. All right, so now when we go back over to this Revelation, Revelation 5 and 1, and I saw an angel, and I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. All right, going into these here scriptures, right? Now, and again, speaking to this person, you know, because it was great edification how it all came out through the Spirit. I was like, hey, man, you know, you done grown up in church and everything else like that your whole life, all right? And y'all go to church, you know, all Jakes got at least one Bible in the household. Most time they got more than one. You know, they might have one in the living room, got one in the bedroom, may have one in the dashboard of the car, but damn near every Jake got a Bible in their house. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere collecting dust. You know what I'm saying? It's a centerpiece for decoration. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's just like having a damn remote control in your house. All right, every Jake got a remote control in their house of some sort, and every Jake got a Bible in their house of some sort. Whether or not it worked or they using it to do any type of work with it, they still got one, right? But nevertheless, like, hey, man, you've always had a Bible in your house, man. you was able to open it up. You was able to read it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you was able to do it. You know, whatever you wanted to do with it. In fact, you know, it's funny. The spirit I have with me right now, a Bible that I've had since I was a little child, man. All right. It's funny speaking about how Jake always had these Bibles in their household. This is how I got my first actual Bible that was like, not to say my first actual Bible, but one, you know, because I had one as a little child and everything else like that, right? It's an old Bible, you know, that I had, you know, from a child. And it wasn't even my Bible. What it was real young. My uncle was living with us and everything else like this. And in fact, his name is written in front of this book, right? Because it was his Bible. But anyway, I had it ever since then, all right? And for some odd reason, through the Spirit, the Lord just had me keep it and everything else like that. But again, hey, just like every other Jake, it was just a prop holder in the house and everything else like that. Never used it. But then when I came into the truth, you know, I had to start looking up things. I was like, wait a minute, let me go over here on this nightstand, grab this here Bible, start looking up stuff, and boom, 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 and read it till you seen the condition it was in right there. There was no more front cover, no more back cover, pages all falling out of it from just over usage, man. All right, you know, then read that book from the beginning to the end multiple times, man. All right, but that's just come with the over usage, man. All right, but hey, just to go show forth that I've had that Bible since, you know, hell, I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. All right, but anyway, all Jakes have these Bibles in their house, but and they can open it up, they can read it as much as they want to read it, but it's sealed unto them, man. And what's the part of it being sealed was what? That the breakdowns, the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of those things, man. All right, you talk to certain Jakes and everything else like that, they'll tell you, you know, speaking about Revelations, like, you ever read the book of Revelations and everything else like that? They're like, nah, that book is a little too deep for me. It's a little too dark for me. It's a little too this and it's a little too that. All right, hold on a second. Of course, this wouldn't want to light. There we go. Anyway, we got all this damn wind blowing. I'm trying to get my little incense lit, but alright. But anyway, you know, hey, like I said, everybody had been reading these Bibles, you know, had the Bibles and everything else like that, but don't have an understanding. You ask them about the book of Revelation, oh, it sounds scary. I don't know about what the book of Revelation is talking about. You ask your pastor, oh, those books are sealed. And, you know, that's the terminology that they use. Those books are sealed. Nobody knows what that's going into. All right, but look, now, you know, this is the first point in time in my life whenever confronted with the book of Revelation, asking questions about the book of Revelation, where there's been a group of men that's able, hey, what you know about Revelation? Oh, come here, young blood. Let me, you know, they don't speak it like that, but, you know, they're apt to jump into those scriptures, man. You should go try to ask your pastor about that. They start ducking and dodging and, well, young man, that's for a different time and a different place. One day we'll get to it. But right now I got a meeting to go to like this and that. But, hey, man, you come across any of the men of the Lord, you know what I'm saying, and you want to know something about the book of Revelation, go ask them and see how quickly they'll go into it. Now, granted, they may be going into something different. You know, they may be on the highways and the byways preaching and then going into a different topic, and they may tell you to hold that for a second, let me finish this thought, and then they go into it. But, hey, man, that's not nothing that they shy away from, man. All right, so, hey, you talking about the books being sealed. You know, you go and you ask any of the men of the Lord about anything in the scriptures, man. They go into these things for you, man. You look on our videos and our channels, man, you see nothing but breakdowns about all kind of different things, going into these different things. And, you know, like the scripture say, we're many members, but one body. You know, we all have our certain gifts and things like that. So you may see one guy, one man of the Lord, you know, this is his gift, and he's constantly going into this here thing. And then you watch another brother, and this is his gift, and he goes into these things, man. You know, you'd be able to go pick up certain things from certain brothers. Like, well, I know that this type of stuff that this brother go into, I need to build up in this here spot. Well, I need to go search out something. Let me go to this brother for that, man. So, hey, the books have been open, all right? And this is all you constantly see the men of the Lord. Hey, this is why the scriptures say, hear the word of my mouth, you know, and I will put the words into your mouth. All right, hear the word of my mouth and go speak unto the children of Israel. But then also, I will put my words into your mouth. These aren't our words. These aren't the things that we just coming up with. Well, I think this is that. And hey, what do you see us doing? Going into the scriptures, man. Breaking it down. What does the scriptures say about it? Hey, let's go to this page. Let's go to that page. You know, again, like we read in Revelation 5. Oh, how come Jake can't get this? How come, you know, we go to church all the time. We don't understand this and we don't understand that. Hey, it's easy for me to say because our people stupid. And just keep it moving. That's not a good enough answer if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about what I think anyway. But anyway, the question was asked, how come my people don't get it? All right, let's go to Revelation chapter 5. We'll break it down what the scriptures say, man. We just read in, what was it, Daniel 12 about how the books was going to be closed to the end time. All right, now we're reading about when the seals are being broken. All right, so let's go back to that Revelation 5. And, you know, and dealing with that Ye situation, and they talking about all this here stuff. Hey, not once do I see them going into the scriptures, into any of these things to refute whatever they saying. You know, they want to talk about, oh, you know, this is this is that, so on and so forth. Like, well, let's see what the scriptures say about these things, man. All right, you know, let's see what the scriptures say about those things, man. You say that the Lord put y'all back into that place. I can show you in the scriptures where the scriptures say that they appointed that land into their own hands. And did y'all not sign y'all own paperwork to sign that over to yourself? The scriptures say that when the Lord was going to put his people back into that land, there was going to be no more war. That says that in the scripture right here. But what are you talking about, man? The scriptures say that they, when they would be brought up out of their captivity, the Lord was going to dwell with them. Where the Lord at, man? Why is all this wickedness still going on the earth, man? The scripture said there was going to be no more pain, no more sorrow, no more tears. None of these things. All the former things would be passed away. How can we still see all these things going on right now, man? You got plagues and pandemics and everything going on, but the Lord's people have been put back into their land. And the Lord put them back over there. The Lord dealing with them right now. We got all this shit going on. You got a Pink City parade going on over there in that land where the Lord is supposed to be at. How come ain't nothing fruitful over there? Why the land so barren over there? The scriptures speak against all these things, man. What the hell are you talking about, man? But yet and still, hey, the scripture talk about Ezekiel 37, the valley of the dry bones, Jake waking up. Jake, we were about to read about how Jake started to learn this here new song that nobody could learn. But the 144,000, they out there singing and dancing and vibing to it right about now, man. What the hell is these, where you see any of these little small hatters coming out the scriptures and raising up the rest of the tribes at, man? Hey, the Lord talking about some, bringing the two sticks together, man. How come you only see so-called one tribe over there right about now, man? How come you don't fit these descriptions of these people, man? We can go in on them day in and day. See, that's the danger zone for them, man. You know, what they try to do is they try to push and poke and prod us to get carnal with them, to put our hands on them or something like that, so they can be justified in what they saying. But then, hey, what we try to do is hey, look, bro, y'all got a carnal fight, we got a spiritual fight. Y'all trying to push us to be carnal with y'all, to physically fight with y'all. We trying to get y'all into a spiritual battle, man. We trying to get you into these scriptures, man. The scriptures say this, and that. Where do you refute this in the scriptures at, man? Produce your scriptures, man. All right, but they can't. So we know that they're gonna lose that fight at all points of times. All right. So hey, this is why the scriptures say our weapons of warfare are not carnal. And also, hey, we wrestle not with man, I gotta grab that real quick. Just to make this quick point. Give me a second. All right. Oh. All right. Ephesians 6 and 12. Ephesians 6 and 12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So, hey, man, we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, man. We're not out here trying to be in a carnal fight with y'all. Y'all talking about some bringing on violence and everything else like that. And I always say, hey, man, hey, Scooby-Doo is the prime example, right? The most dangerous thing that you can do, you know, when the bad guy always get the most mad is, it's not when they physically subdue the man. He not mad when he get physically subdued and he get physically caught. The worst thing when that guy feels the worst so-called punishment, treatment, and anything that happens to him is what? When they take that mask off of him. They expose him for who he really is, because he can't no longer hide behind that deception, man. All right, he can be subdued and everything else like that. Yeah, he a little pissed, but then he just that demon really come off when you pull that mask off his ass, man, because then he's fully exposed. Oh, this nigga was doing this the whole time, man. But see, now the wicked is being revealed, the son of perdition, man. This is what he's coming down with that great wrath for, is because you starting to expose him in this here limelight, man. Kanye can go over here and talk about all he want to talk about, all these different companies and all this and that, and George Bush don't care about white people. Why didn't they cancel when he said George Bush, the then sitting president of the United States, in the time of Hurricane Katrina, when they were showing forth exactly what he was saying. Cause that's what he was on the telethon for. That thing was for. How come they didn't cancel him right then and there when he went off script and said, "Hey, George Bush don't care about black people, man"? Was that not the most harmful thing to say at a time? Like, think about, some of you Jakes weren't even alive or remember what the hell was going on at that point in time. There was the Hurricane Katrina had flooded out New Orleans. People was being drowned out there. You know what I'm saying? The government was just flying over and looking at their ass and everything else like that. And they was on a telethon. Him and Mike Myers, the dude from Austin Powers, man. They was on a telethon and he just went off script and said, "Hey, George Bush don't care about black people." And you see Mike Myers like, "What the fuck, nigga? Hold up, you what the hell?" You know what I'm saying? How come they didn't cancel him right then and there when he was openly talking about your world leader, your United States leader at that point in time, man? You could talk about that, but you can't talk about you know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. You should be able to see certain things that's going on like this, man. But yet and still, hey, man, you know, this goes forth to show you about these people, man, that you're dealing with. But let's go back to this Revelation 5:1, and I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof?" And no man in heaven nor on earth, neither under the earth, were able to open the books, neither to look thereon. So, hey, going into these things, man, you know, going back to the question about how come how people don't understand these things, man. You know, and this is like one of the first steps of coming into this here truth, man. You find out the truth is, you know, like Scripture says, sweet in your mouth, then it get bitter in your belly. But the sweet part about it is like, hey, you want to go and tell everybody. How come everybody don't know this? It's like, yo, it's the biggest secret in the whole wide world and everything. And how come more people don't know about this? But then that bitter truth start coming in, man. All right, the bitter truth of the matter is what? This book was, you know, well, it's, not to say it's still sealed, but for some people, like the Scripture say, you know, the God of this earth has blinded them. You know, they were blinded. The gospel wasn't for them. But, and that's part of the bitterness. Because, you know, ultimately we want all of our people to make it. We want all of our people to be saved and everything else like that. But then the more and more you get into it, you realize that, like the Scriptures say, 2/3 must be cut off and die. All right? They're not going to get it. They're not going to make it. They're not going to repent. You know, they loathe the law. When yet the place of repentance was open unto them, they understood it not, but despised it. The same must learn after death by pain. They got to go through this, man. They're not going to get it, man. That's the bitter truth and the bitter reality of it. It could be your best friend, your girlfriend, your wife, your kids, whoever it may be. You know, your son or your daughter, they may not get it. They may just be bugged the hell out the whole damn time. It's like, man, I don't want them to have to go through this here destruction. I see it, I get it. But it ain't up to you to be able to choose, man. To be thankful that you got this here truth, man. All right? But then you have to understand that, look, you know, this here knowledge is sealed to a lot of people, man. But overall, in the greater sense, there was a time frame and a time period where all of this was sealed, man. Throughout generations and generations, we didn't know of any of these. We didn't know of any of these. We didn't know of any of these so-called breakdowns and truths, man. All right. Again, the scriptures themselves wasn't sealed. You know, it's not like every Bible that you got had a seal or a lock over it. You couldn't open it up. Like, oh, well, we got a Bible, but we just can't open it up. Nah, man, it was right then and there. All right, but you weren't able to. Again, you go to church week in and week out, and you never know what the hell an Israelite is, man. Every single week you go to church and you read in the scriptures, you done looked at the Bible and read the Bible 40, 50 years of your whole life and don't know what the hell an Israelite is, man. Don't know what a Edomite is, man. Don't know of anything in the scriptures besides, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. All right, that's all that you know in the scriptures, man. But yet and still, hey, that's going forth to show proof. How is it that, look, if you was in school for 40 years studying the same damn thing, let's say math, right? Beginner's math, 1 + 1, 2 + 2. 40 years, you still couldn't do your pluses or your multiplication. You didn't learn your multiplication table. After 40 years, they would have to look, bro. You just not gonna ever get this, man. They would. Hey, you got some type of remedial education going on. You're not gonna get it, bro. Like if we can't teach you 1 + 1 over 40 years, you know what I'm saying? We still trying to teach you the same basics. Like that's how easy it is. The Israelites, the people of the Bible, man. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. These are his descendants. That's 1 + 1. If you can't figure that part out after 40 years of reading, 1 + 1 or the scriptures, this is not for you, man. You know, either A, it's not for you, or B, you've been blinded and you're gonna have to learn after death by pain. All right. So, hey, this is where it was being sealed at. So let's continue on. It says, verse 2, and I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof. And no man in heaven nor on earth, neither under the earth, were able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. So nobody was worthy to open the book and to look thereon. And so the sad part about that is, in that scenario, hey, Valley of the Dry Bones, man. The Lord, and I prophesied as I was commanded, and there arose an exceedingly great army. That breath of life was going into them. They was waking up, calling back on the name of the Lord. See, that's what is going to ultimately get us up out of here, man. All right, waking up and calling on the name of the Lord, raising up that vibration again. But if that never was to take place, we would stay dead in this here dead state. We would never call on the Lord would never come and get us, man. So that's where the weeping comes in at. If nobody's able to get that breakdown and that understanding to be able to show us that, blow that breath into us, man. Nobody was to ever tell us that we was the Israelites. Nobody was to ever bring out that name Yahweh and Yahweh, man. We would be gone out here, man. All right, so hey, that's something that's worth weeping for, man. All right, but what the scriptures say? And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders say unto me, Weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, had prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. So hey, Yahushua was the only one that was able to open the book. And again, like when he came on the scene, what did he do? All right, he gave this to his disciples, man. All right, and they went forth teaching these things, man. And just like even now, all right, the Spirit of the Lord, in all of the trillions of dollars that they spent on entertainment and things like that, to keep our minds off of this, man. All right, the 501c3s, charters in our churches and everything else like that, to keep us teaching us the wrong stuff year after year. All right, the years of brainwashing us into all these different things, the news, the media, putting people up in place, moving entire populations of people into different places and everything else like that. All that money is being spent to show us it's one thing to tell us a story, but then like if they was all it would take was just go over to the land of Israel or talk to somebody in the land of Israel and see actual Israelites over there. Like, nah, man, they lying to us about this, but nah, we got to move an entire population of people over there, man. Raise up entire generations of people to make them believe that this is going on and give them a background and everything else. It's like, for me to sit there and create a lie or an illusion like the Truman Show, man. You should watch the Truman Show. That's a great spiritual movie to this whole scenario, to what I'm trying to prove. Do you know how much money they had to spend on making a set to make Jim Carrey's character believe that the shit that he was seeing every damn day was real? All right, he had to have all the people that was involved in the movie and involved in his life was all actors. They all had a script. All right, everybody, all the traffic, all the things that was going on was all involved based around him. You know how much it takes to fool the whole world? And not to say a whole world, but his whole set and everything, how big the set would have to be for him to know about this. And they say that like the radio commercials was catered to him. If he was having a thought about going like on a plane trip somewhere, they would have a news flash come across the radio about a plane crashing and everything else like that, or all these different things like that to keep him trapped into this here lie and everything. You know how much money is spent on those things like that, man? All right, and what Esau did all these things, man, just to keep us down, keep us out of the loop of these things, man. But guess what? The spirit of Yahushua, then rested upon, starting with Abba Bivens, all the way on down through the apostles of Great Millstone on down. All right, just spread forth this here truth, man. All right, waking us back up to who we are. So now here we are on the highways and the byways, preaching and edifying. And then not only is it just on a low level, or not to say a low level, this is the highest level you can be on, but on the low levels on the streets like this, it even gets up into these Hollywood elites, man. All right, the Kendrick Lamars. All right, you got a lot of these rappers that put it in their music, and then we've seen different videos of just brothers at camp, man. All right, you seen there was a video of Cat Williams rolling by a camp one day. He ain't say nothing. He just walked by. I think he walked by twice, but he came and dropped a donation down. Gave a little donation and kept it moving. He knew they was out there filming and everything, but hey, he just came by, put a little bit of money down. Waka Flocka came by one day and kind of was going back and forth with the brothers. And you see his lifestyle now, man. He didn't change, and the things he talk about is completely different. Not even saying that he just openly claimed to be an Israelite, but you just see the transformation in his whole life, man. He stopped doing the things that he was doing beforehand, so his whole life wound up changing, man. All right, you see, like I said, you had the Kendrick Lamar. You got quite a few of these different people who wind up walking past the camp and everything else like that, man. Being either caught on video or whatever. But then you had this Ye situation, and they asked him flat out about it, man. But again, these things are going into a higher or lower level of how do I say, of groups of people and everything else like that, to where people can hear and understand these things, man. This vibration is going forth to where now people are starting to wake up to these things, man. All right, so hey, trillions and trillions of dollars are spent to hide this here information from going out. But guess what? It's still seeping through the cracks. And then let me read the precept to that real quick. In Revelation, there's two precepts I want to grab. Revelation chapter 11 and 11. Revelation 11 and 11. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, and so that three and a half days to 350 years, man. All right, the books were sealed. We didn't have the understanding of the things that was going on. All right, and let me grab this other precept. And hang on one second. All right. Yep. So yeah, 3.5 days, you know, we were, you know, pretty much in this so-called dead state, not knowing who we were, you know what I'm saying? But then after that, we started to wake up to who we were, all right, calling on the names of the Lord, man. Then the brothers started going out on the highways and the byways, and then, you know, throughout all of that, you know, brothers was woken up, you know, the truth was preserved throughout time. Then there was the time frame of what, I don't know, I believe it was like 2007, I guess, when the apostles came on YouTube, all right, and from 2007, you know, you had an influx of brothers coming in, and then, you know, I believe it was like 2015 or 2017, you had another big wave of brothers coming in, some more, and hell, 2020, man, all right, because look, you know, everybody was sitting at home, a lot more people was waking up, you know, well, I believe it was before 2020, because you had all these so-called new woke jakes that was talking about the year 2019, you know, they was on that little bandwagon, but, hey, even all these things, the scriptures say, hey, you can do nothing against the Most High, but only for the Most High, man. So all these things all work together good for those that believe in them. All right, all these things is working out for the men of the Lord, man. So it's not that you can do anything against the truth, but only for the truth, man. So you see that these things are all coming to pass, man. Hey, 3.5 days we were in that grave. Now we're starting to stand up. All right, pushing out their vibration. Jake is starting to wake up. This is what the biggest threat unto them is right about now. Again, our weapons of warfare are not carnal, man. All right, we're fighting a spiritual warfare, man. This is the most dangerous thing. Again, going back to the Ye scenario, what was the most dangerous and the most horrible things that he could have been saying? Really, the most horrible thing that he could have said, like I said, they had to change what he said about the DEFCON, all right, because he was just saying defending himself against that. And if anybody would know about that, then so on and so forth. But they know the simple-minded Jake, they would just, oh, he was saying death to them and this and that. That's not what he was saying. Really, and they had to throw that in there. But the most dangerous thing that he was saying was that he was an actual Israelite. Our people were actually the real Israelites. This is the most dangerous thing that you could be saying. Again, like going back to, I make this analogy all the time now recently as of this thing. You know what I'm saying? You may know Ray Ray from up the block. Y'all live in the same neighborhood and everything else like that. Now, when you call Ray Ray name out in the hood, hey Ray Ray, come over here and get some barbecue, man. We grilling over here, man. Come get you some burgers off the grill or something like that. Ray Ray cool with that. Hey Ray Ray, I just hit the lotto. Come over here, let me break bread with you real quick. Ray Ray good with that. Hey Ray Ray, we got some chicks over here, man. A homegirl said she wanna holler at you. Ray Ray cool with that. Now, fast forward, you inside the bank making a deposit or something. Some masked men run up into the bank, say, hey, this is stick up, don't anybody move. You recognize that voice, and you look over and say, hey Ray Ray, is that you? Now Ray Ray finna get mad at you, like, man, don't be calling out my name in the bank. Now why is Ray Ray mad? All right, they don't want to come to the light because why? Their deeds were evil. They don't want to be exposed for those things. So now it's only evil if you call them out. It's only wicked if you call them out, and it's not really wicked. I mean, because to the police, you did the right thing. Hey, you told us you solved the crime. You told us who it was. But to the criminal, the guy that's doing the bad things, he don't want his name to be called out because of why? You're exposing him. All right, just like the scriptures say, they don't want to come to the light because their deeds were evil. All right, somebody that's needing a guidance, somebody that needs some inspection. You looking for something like let's say you're trying to find somebody in a hole or something like that, right? You got a light on and everything else like that. The person that's down there stuck, man, what do you think he gonna be doing? He gonna be reaching towards the light. He looking for help. That's salvation unto him, man. But if you, again, hiding from somebody and you go over there searching with the light, the spotlight and everything else, the police and the helicopter, the spotlight, you're gonna be running from that light, man. All right, because why? Your deeds were evil. Same with that, man. So the most dangerous thing that he could have been saying was what? Who he was. So going back to, hey, they laid their dead bodies laid in the street for 350 years or 3.5 days, man. All right, you know, but then they started waking up. All right, they stood upon their feet, and that great fear fell upon them. Why was that great fear falling upon them? Because again, it's just like you calling Ray Ray out, being in the bank. Now you exposing them for who they are. Nah, man, y'all aren't the Israelites. We the real Israelites, man. Y'all are the imposters. Y'all are actually the seed of Esau, man. Y'all are of the wicked, man. Hey, the Lord is about to come and take y'all up out of y'all power, man. This is it for y'all, man. Prophesying against them. Hey, man, they got that New World Order they trying to push. They got the MOTB that they trying to push, man. They trying to get you to bow down to their system, man. They're sitting in the temple of God, showing that He is God. We got to grab it. We didn't just quoted it like 4 or 5 times. But, all right. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you. All right, so hey, let no man deceive you. All right, and this is what these people do. All right, they're great deceivers. In fact, let me grab another precept real quick. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 13. It says, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. So, hey, deceitful workers, man, transforming themselves, man. All right, how you say, imposters, man. All right, you know, you have, hey, you know, that's spiritual, because my little nephew be playing this game called Among Us, right? Where, I don't know exactly the whole theme of the game, but you basically trying to find out who's the imposter. But the imposter, they all look the same, right? They, you know, you got little different characters of different color, but, you know, they got different outfits on. But the guy that's the imposter is going around looking like the rest of the people, man. I guess they're in a little spaceship, and they supposed to be fixing the spaceship while one dude is taking apart the spaceship or some shit like that. But then you be having him looking around, you look at him like, nah, he look like he doing his job like he's supposed to be doing, so on and so forth. But when nobody looking, he over there sabotaging the shit, man. But then in the face of everybody else, he look like everybody else, man. All right, hey, this is these people, man, transforming themselves into the workers of light, man. Transforming themselves into doing something good. Oh, we with the church, we do this, we do that, we have humanity. Like, oh, we have, how you call these places, charity groups. We have donations, we have hospitals and things, but you also creating chemical warfare and pestilence and diseases, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, what if I go and I put out fires here and there, you know, as a job as a firefighter, but then in my spare time I go and set fires, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be a cop, but then you can also be a dirty cop, you know, in your spare time and things like that. What benefit is that, man? Doesn't, you know, you can't play both sides of the field, but this is what Esau does, man. All right, claim to be the righteous, but all is actually the wicked, deceiving. All right, the devil. This is why we call you the devil, man. All right, and for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into apostles of Hamashiach. And no marvel. All right, this is the key. And no marvel. How many years have you been going to church? How many years have you been going to church and believing on these things and seeing these things and everything else like that, and you think it's the way that it's being pushed out or portrayed, man? How many different years have you been going into these churches and seeing this so-called the other white meat, this little Cesare Borgia? All right, how many years have you been going to church and seeing these things and bowing down to this here image, thinking that this is the Lord? How long has this been going on? All right, and then, you know, if we come out in on certain terms and say certain things like, hey, man, you know, y'all worshiping the devil, man. All right, that white God that y'all worshiping is actually the devil, man. Oh, y'all, you know, or they'll walk by and they'll see the image of Yahushua and think that's some kind of demon or something like that, man. All right, and in reality, I'm like, yo, have you not read in Revelation 1 and 14 about how, you know, his eyes were a flame of fire, his skin was like burnt brass, all right, and all these different things? How long have you been, you know, reading into these scriptures and you can't put 2 and 2 together? The white goddess on the wall is the imposter, man. All right, that's not so, man. All right, he's over here deceiving you with these things, but yet and still, you know, you say that what we telling you and what you read in the scriptures is not so. Oh, his color don't matter. Well, why is there a portion of scripture dedicated to telling you what color he was, man, if it didn't matter? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know, everybody else on planet Earth has got a skin color, a skin tone, come from a certain race of people, but the Lord's didn't matter. Didn't matter where he came from when they kept telling you his lineage and all his people the whole time, man. Why do they stress so much about his lineage? You know, you hear about the founding fathers of America, Columbus and all them. They don't stress that much on their lineage. You know, when you read about Columbus, all right, starting out with Columbus come from this person, this person, this person, this person, all the way on down. Nah, man. But with Yahushua, hey, they go that far into his lineage. Why? Because it's important to show forth who his people were, man. All right. But going back, it says 2 Corinthians 11 and 13, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Hamashiach. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be in according to their works. So, hey, if so, it says, and it's no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as ministers of righteousness. So, if they're not really ministers of righteousness, then who are they? All right. If they wasn't actually the so-called righteous ministers and righteous workers, then who are they? All right. They're transforming themselves into righteousness, but who are they really, man? All right. You know, the scriptures tell you about the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right. They speak about these things inside of the scriptures, but yet and still, when we bring it up to our people, they don't want to, how do I say, acknowledge these things, man. Oh, it's just something that's of non-importance and everything else like that. When we tell you, hey, man, you know, we go into the scriptures, hey, you know, the Lord was a man of color, right? Why is that important? Why is this color isn't important and everything else like that? But getting still, when we tell you that the so-called black people are the Israelites, then all of a sudden, oh, that's a controversy and everything else like that. If you understood and you knew about these things, again, the more our people knew about these things, if they was to say, if we all knew that the Lord was a man of color, a so-called black man, when Kanye talking about he's the real Jew, and these people are imposters and everything, nobody would combat with that. Nobody was like, yeah, he telling the truth. We know what's going on. Now, the funny part about it is if you go over there to Europe and stuff like that, and you talk about these things in the Middle East and everything else like that, they all know that the Lord was a so-called black man. They all know he was a man of color. They have issues with seeing the picture of a so-called white man like that, man. All right, but who put this here image up like that, man? All right, we just read about how he was transformed into an angel of light. All right, we just read about how, or I just quoted to you about how he covered the faces of the judges thereof, you know, after he took over the earth. All right. You can go and look up the history on Cesare Borgia. All right, you can go look up the history of this here man. You can go look up the history of this here family and the things that they've done. But see, our people, they wouldn't even do those. You know, you can go do a quick Google search and type in Cesare Borgia, man. Type that in on the images and everything. You're gonna get the same exact picture that your grandmama got hanging up in her damn wall. Not knowing that that's an actual picture of an actual person. That's not, you know, what you would just think it is. Oh, it's just an artist depiction of the Lord. Well, why do they all look exactly the same? Why do they all look like it's the exact same person? You know, but hey, our people will never really go too far into these things, and when you try to break it down to them, oh, it don't really matter that much. It don't really matter that much. Just like what was that? Good Times, where this is an old skit, man. And you know, because the truth has been out there, man. But see, our people, it just constantly goes over their head. But going into that Good Times episode, they was like, oh, the Lord's color didn't matter and this and that. But then I think it was little JJ or whatever it was, took down the white picture of Jesus and put up the black picture of Jesus, and his mama flipped out. Like, well, if the color didn't matter, why does it matter if I take down the white Jesus and put up the black Jesus, man? You know, using their terminology. But why does it matter if I, you know, take down the white Jesus, put up the black Jesus if the color didn't matter? Nah, this the only, what she say, this is the only Jesus that I know. You know what I'm saying? But see, that's our people, man. Lost sheep, man. All right, let me pull out this other precept real quick. First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48. It says, I gotta start at verse 45. First Maccabees, I can really start up a little more, but I'm gonna start at verse 45. He was talking about this other white meat, and you know, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges thereof, man, and how he transformed himself into an angel of light. See, the scripture clearly tell you that this so-called white man that you bowing down to in the churches, that's the damn devil, man. All right, but again, you go to any of these damn Christian churches and you see that man up on the wall, like, point him out, hey, that's the devil right there that y'all bowing down to. This nigga this the devil. They'll crucify your ass inside the church. But yet still they have the same book right here in front of them, and they will never go into these things, man. They'll never come across these things, or even if they do, they'll say, well, you know, you got these people that's over here trying to be slick, this and that, but then they can't ever point out these people, man. I'm like, yeah, you're right. There are some people that's out here deceiving you and lying to you about these certain things, and not only are they out here, I'm pointing out to you who these people are. And yet and still that, no, we don't know exactly who they are. So you're going to live your whole life not knowing exactly who any of these things are. You know things in generalizations, but you can't really point these things out. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the so-called Antichrist coming in the world, like, oh, y'all keep thinking it's going to be one guy, but you can't realize the damn, you know, the scenario that you're living in right now. The whole society that you're living in right now is against the Most High, man. All right, anti-Hamashiach, man. You know, but yet and still, you know, you looking for one man to come turn this bitch out, and this whole place already turned out to begin with, man. But yet and still, hey, they don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear, man. All right. But going into this first Maccabees 3 and 45, now Jerusalem lay waste, now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. There was none of her children that went in or out, and the sanctuary also was trodden down, and aliens kept the strongholds. So foreigners, all right, these Edomites pretty much was rolling up in there, all right. It says the heathen had their habitation in that place, all right, the heathen, all right. It says, and joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe and the harp ceased. Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mizpah over against Jerusalem, for Mizpah was the place where they had prayed aforetime in Israel. Then they fasted that day and put their sackcloth and cast ashes upon their head and rent their clothing, all right, and laid open the book of the law, which is the scriptures, wherein the heathen, all right, the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. So putting these scriptures together, man, all right, you know, you have you know, the devil, the deceiver, all right, transformed himself to an angel of light, all right. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked, all right, or the devil, all right, and he covered the faces of the judges. He laid open the books and sought to paint the likeness of the images after himself, all right. So this is all in the scriptures. So wait a minute, for our people, you know, it's talking about that the books were sealed and everything else like that. You know, you would never come across these things and put two and two together. Like, wait a minute, maybe, you know, because you would. And that's another thing that people have in their mind and their pride, that everything that they, you know, the times they're living in, everything is all better and all righteous. So when they read about these prophecies of these bad things happening, they would never think that this is actually happening in their time frame. Oh, these things aren't happening right when we're talking about. No, it's not going to happen to this. You just think, you know, you talk to your parents about, what was that, Second Peter, where they say, hang on real quick. Second Peter chapter 3. Three and 4. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers walking after their own lust, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. So they say, hey man, same shit is going on from generation to generation. That ain't in our time, that's in another person's time. That's in another time frame. That's not for now, that's for another time frame. So you have our people saying these things over and over and over again, never thinking, never putting into their mindset, this might be happening in the time frame that I'm living in. All right, or mark of the beast. Who would have ever thought that it would be happening in their how do I say, in their time frame, in their life, their lifetime? You know, 1 second. Jake never seemed to think. You know, they have a term. Oh, that was back in biblical times. Never do they think that they're part of the equation, man. Never do they think they're part of these things. So when you read up into the scriptures about, you know, the devil transformed himself into an angel of light. All right, they laid open the books and sought to paint the images like unto themselves. All right, they take the ancient high places in their possessions. All right, they had the Israelites in captivity. They never thought that maybe we, the Israelites that's in captivity, these people that's being upheld as actual Israelites, maybe they're the imposters in a position. All right, and then maybe there's going to be a point in time where we raise up after those 3.5 days, stand upon our feet, and start, and that great fear falling upon them because they would start calling them out. Maybe this is the time frame that we talking about. Maybe this is the time frame that we're living in right about now. Maybe this is actually that prophecy taking place. But yet our people would never put two and two together with these things, man, because why? They don't have the eyes to see. But for you men of the Lord and you that understand these things, you know clear as day, like it's just prophecy taking place. It's just every day you see these things, like it's getting more and more real every day, man. This is like a movie being played out, and it's like it's like you've read a book that was turned into a movie. And when you see the movie, you know how it all plays out, or you know it's a movie that's being made off of a real life story and a real life event, and you know how the movie plays out. Just like, well, I know it was gonna happen. I hadn't seen the movie, but I know the real life event of these things. I know that this was gonna happen, that was gonna happen, this was gonna happen, because I was there when, you know, I remember the real life story of it all, man. All right, so hey, this is like a scenario like that. Let's get back to that. Let me see. Let me read this. Going back to Wisdom of Solomon. right, because we was just reading about how Revelation 11:11. Matter of fact, let's go read this first. Let's go back to 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3, it says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed." So, hey, we had that falling away where we fell away from who we were, the knowledge of who we were. But now, hey, that spirit is back into the earth now. All right, going back to what we was just reading about how after 3.5 days, that life was going to enter back into them. All right, so now, hey, look, that falling away is starting to come back. All right, we're starting to come back to who we were. All right, and this is part of that great fear falling upon them because, again, like I said, it's like you starting, imagine them, speaking as the Edomites, right? Is Ray Ray in the bank robbery scene, man. Oh shit! The biggest thing that I fear is either my mask get taken off or somebody gonna recognize my voice up in here. If they recognize my voice, then the whole thing is over with, man. You know what I'm saying? So look, this is the point where they're coming to right about now. Whereas, look, we starting to recognize the voice of the Lord, and we starting to follow after Him. And so, understanding the scriptures and everything else like that, it's like, I mean, at a certain point in time, they could think, well, we can let them have Bibles. They'll never figure it out. They'll never get it. Whatever. They've been going to church. We've done that good of a job that they'll never figure this here stuff out. But look, the Spirit of the Lord came down upon us. All right, and then look, we started waking up. All right, so now all of a sudden they starting to panic and go back and forth with, oh, what do we do? What do we do? This is part of that great fear. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God." And is that not what Esau is doing? All right. Has he not painted the likeness of himself as our Lord and our Savior and put himself up in all the temples, man, and all the churches and everything else like that, man? Is this not what he has been doing over the time frame, man? And we can try to call him out for these things. Oh, there's a problem, man. No, man, you don't match the description of Revelation 1:14, man. You do match the description of what was that? First Maccabees 3:48, or 3:48, going into what? Painting the likeness of their own images. Job 9:24. Yeah, you match these descriptions, but yet and still, in a scenario of you actually being the actual, an Israelite, you know what I'm saying, or a man with woolly hair like wool. All right, skin like burnt bronze or burnt brass. You don't fit that description. All right, but yet and still, hey, this is the one who transformed himself into an angel of light, man. All right, that great imposter, man. All right. It says, let me jump over to verse 8. It says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." So, hey, this is how he's being consumed right about now. Going back to that Ye situation, the most dangerous, most hateful, most whatever all those words they was using against him was saying for what? Hey, he was a real Israelite, man. And somebody with that big of a voice saying these things, see, it's not that much of a problem when, you may see us on the highways and the byways, and, there's not a huge crowd of people around us listening to what we're saying. Hey, if that was the case, now sometimes the police will come up or whatever, somebody call the police if there's like scenarios where there's back and forth going on, and 9 times out of 10 they always on our side anyway. Because they know us, right? They know that we ain't on no violent type stuff, and whoever come up, it's on us. But now just imagine if we was sitting out here prophesying, right, and had the whole block, 300-400 people on the whole block, sitting in silence, listening, being edified and everything else like that. Guess what will happen, man? The police will come up on the block, tell us we gotta disperse, man. Hey, y'all can't be out here like this, man. Hey, we ain't saying y'all doing nothing wrong, but y'all just can't be out here like this, man. Because why? That's that great fear. We over here edifying our people, man. But now if we was out here having this little makeshift rap concert, and smoking weed on the side of the block, have bitches twerking out here, shaking that ass, and saying 300 people out here, loud ass music, they wouldn't say nothing about it, man. You know what I'm saying? They just keep it on moving, just making sure there ain't nobody out here doing, or wherever they can try to find to make some money, or try to make money off of that. But other than that, not really a problem, man. But if we out here edifying our people with that big of a crowd, then there's a problem, man. All right. It says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, and all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved." And hey, look, that's how the devil coming right about now, man. All right, with all these lying wonders and works. All right, and matter of fact, I want to read something real quick on that, because it goes right in on that. So when you go into this here word, so 2 Thessalonians 2 and 9, it says, even him who's coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And this word for lying goes into pseudos, all right? A lie, conscious and intentional falsehood. All right, they consciously know, hey, we're gonna deceive them with this here stuff. All right, just like you have what they call that shit, the Impossible Burgers or Impossible Chicken type things. Like it's a chicken nugget, but it ain't no real chicken. They know what the hell it is. They know what it's not. They know it's not chicken, but they intentionally giving you those things, right? Pseudo, all right, in a broad sense, whatever is not what it seems to be, all right? In a broad sense, whatever is not what it seems to be, all right? Perverse, impious, deceitful precepts, all right? Falsehood, a lie, lying, all right? So, hey, this him with his pseudoscience, all right, whatever it seems not to be, all right? They're different ideologies of all these different things, and man, they have all these different, like I say, they spend all this here money on their pseudoscience and their, their agendas to try to tell you all these falsehoods. Oh, there was we all evolved. There's no such thing. On one side they'll tell you that we all evolved and there is no God and none of these things really make a difference, none of these things. But when it comes to these little small hats, they'll want you to believe in God at that point. Oh, these were God's people, God's chosen people. That was always done wrong, and God gave them the blessing over the whole earth and everything else like that. That's why they're in the position that they're in now. They don't want you to believe in God when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, like, you try to have that argument with those folks over there about all the things that they done went through. And you tell them, look, bro, God ain't even real, bro. We just evolved over here. Man, they will argue to their face turn goddamn blue, man. Telling you about how there's a God and how they have, rights to all these things because of God. But then when it's not dealing with those people, they're like, oh, there is no God, we just evolved. But hey, like Scripture say, the fool said in his heart, there is no God, man. But these people are how do I put it? These people are just, like the Scripture say, deceitful workers, man. All right, liars, man. All right. So going back to, we was reading that Revelation 11 and 11. Revelation 11 and 11 says, and after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, now let's go over to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. It says 5 and 1, and then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness in the face of such as has afflicted him and made no account of his labors. All right, and so, hey, it's the same scenario, man. All right, standing in great boldness in the face, like, you see the Yates situation. All right, seeing the things that he lost. Now, we don't know about how this whole thing is really going to play out and everything, as far as if he was set up to do these things or if the Lord just put the Spirit on him to do these things and everything else like that. Hey, to work forward to bring in, the elect in. All right, but nevertheless, in a scenario like that, knowing what the consequences are, because like I said, more than just him know those things like that. They know the buttons that they can and can't push. They know the things that they can and can't speak about, because he's not the first one to say this. You got Professor Griff from Public Enemy way back in the day, who said exactly the same thing, went into the books, and his was a little better, because he went into the books and showed forth. Back then they didn't have books. They had some books, but back then you had what they would call like manuscripts of certain things. I remember back in the early 90s and stuff like that, people would be passing around like, it basically would go to print out documents. You know what I'm saying? They would just print out, you'd have a printout some papers. They would have it stapled together, and then sometimes it'd be all wrinkled up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, hey man, let me hold that paper. Let me hold those little, so on and so forth. Let me read it, whatever, and be all balled up. Sometimes you can go and make copies of it. I remember I was real young, seeing some shit like that, and I wound up when I got my hands on it. I was in the Boys and Girls Club, man. I remember this shit like yesterday. Went over to try to make a copy of this shit. Hey, let me get some copies of this real quick. And it's like 10 cents a piece. Let me get a couple copies of it. And they're like, bro, we tired of making copies of the same ass shit. But I'm like, man, I gotta have this for myself, man. A little bit of information. But I was a little bitty jit, man. I was like damn near in elementary school. Probably not even in elementary school, but back going to the Boys and Girls Club. But anyway, that's how things was back in the olden days, man. But Professor Griff came out with these things. They kicked him out of what? Public Enemy. All right, you had your boy name is Nick Cannon. They damn near took all his shit away from him, made him go and apologize for him to get his shit back, man. All right, Ice Cube did the same thing, man. All right, was going through this from way back in the day with NWA, and they found out what was going on with those things, man. All these men have the same arguments. Michael Jackson with Tommy Mottola, man. They all have the same arguments with these same people doing the same stuff. But then, you know, they try to speak on these things, you know, and I believe I hadn't done the research on it, but R. Kelly with the same scenario, man. All right, you know, but you go into these people and they start talking about certain things, and then all of a sudden they go and they pull your card, man. All right, so hey, they know what they know what the cost of doing business is, so to say. But yet, and still, hey, look, in this scenario, hey, Kanye wanted, you know, going out there with that scenario. We'll see how he really handles these things out. But hey, like how we are right now, you know, we don't, you know, we still have, you know, it's basically the equivalent to the same loss, right? Now they may have more money than us and everything else like that, but hey, you know, we out here making our bodies living sacrifices, because at any point in time, these things happen. You know, people will come by. You know, we always see people come by and they'll videotape us and everything else like that. But look, especially amongst your own family and your own friends, they might have it in their spirit. They don't like what you're doing, and they'll videotape what you're doing, find your page, and go take it to your job, take it to your old lady, take it to some of the people you work for and everything else like that, try to get you fired and everything else like that. But they just got demonic spirits on them, man. You know what I'm saying? But look, you know what the so-called consequences for these things are. So hey, standing in great boldness in the face of those that afflicted thee, man. All right, telling them what's gonna happen to them in their kingdom and everything. Hey, your kingdom has come to an end. All right, and also how much more we in captivity. This was a point in time where we couldn't look Edomites in the face, man. We couldn't. If we got caught reading the scriptures, we would be put to death, man. All right, you know, there was that time frame. You know, the spirit ain't the same no more. Where, you know, we be on the highways and the byways telling Esau, screaming to the top of our lungs, that they going into captivity, man. That's right. Them days, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, right in the face of them that afflicted us, man. Police right on the other side of the block just looking at us, and they can't do a damn thing about it, man. All right, but getting still, hey, man, we more in a time of prophecy nowadays, man. Instead of just exposing and going in on Esau, I mean, we didn't expose him, man. That spirit has gone out to the point now, you know, where you have these world leaders now, Isaiah 14 and 16 coming to play. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble? They all calling you out nowadays, man. You know, Psalm 64, your own tongue is coming out against you right about now, man. So all these different things is, how do I say, coming to play at this here point in time. But look, we stand in great boldness in the face of those that afflicted us and made no account of our labors, man. All right, but look, when they saw, like Scripture say, well, let's keep reading. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 5, or Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. You know, and go to the twofold, you know, they'll explain the second half, but hey, when we get taken up into those chariots, man, all right, that's going to be so far beyond all that they look for, right? But it says in verse 3, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he who we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. All right, we fools counted his life madness and his end without honor. How was he numbered among the children of the Most High and his lot among the saints? Therefore have we erred from the way of the truth, and the light of righteousness have not shone unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us. And so I can think of one Negro. This nigga, hopefully, Lord's will, he a goddamn Edomite. All right, Charlemagne, right? That's why I said Lord's will, that this nigga get to make it and get to see the Lord face to face. All right, to have that big oh shit moment, man. All right, some we fools accounted his life like the people of the likeness of Kanye, or the people that's, you know, like us that's doing this here work. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's this, he's foolish, he's this, he's all. You preaching all this here bullshit, and then at the end all be all, you like, damn, how the fuck is he numbered among the saints? How come the Lord actually came back for him when you and your wife and your children all being tormented by Esau when he putting his goddamn boot up y'all ass, and you screaming for some kind of help, and the Lord gonna play back in your mind, you know, even though you call him Jesus. Oh, Jesus ain't coming back. Yeah, you can call it, but I'm not finna come deliver your ass, man. But then you gonna be able to look out the side of your eye and seeing the ones that you was calling fools, and that, because he told us that black Hebrew Israelites speaking. That sound like them Israelites. That ain't nothing new. But guess what? You gonna remember, the Lord is gonna make you remember some Israelites, man. The faces of those brothers that you done seen that you know is the Israelites, man. And Lord wills, hey, some of them brothers, you know, the actual men of the Lord, right? You gonna get to see them being delivered while you and your family being tortured right there, man. All right, all by the hands of the Lord, man. Lord's will to the Lord, this is a big demon. Lord's will to the Lord destroy your ass, man. No, actually preserve your ass to that day, then destroy your ass, man. All right, we don't want you to go out no kind of bullshit way. We want you to be able to see all these things, man. All right, but anyway, it says, and they repented and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he who we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. And just like, you know, with everybody talking about Kanye off his rocker, he crazy, he bugged out right now. Hey, guess what? They said all these same things about us, man. I look at these guys, they all out here bugged out and everything else like that. But now if you notice, you know, see, he just going through the things that we've already been through. You know, in the earlier years, people used to come by laughing and scoffing, taking pictures and everything else like that. oh, look at these stupid niggas and this and that. But look, they heard the message. They seen the signs. 2020 came around. They all was quiet. All right, they ain't say shit. If anything, they had to say they came and asked questions about, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? Hey, can you give us some answers on these things, man? That was the only thing that they were speaking at those points in times, man. But yet and still nowadays, the how you say the you know, the mood has changed nowadays, man. You see people walking by nowadays, they either put their head down and just keep on walking, or they'll wave, good job, shalom, you know what I'm saying, or they'll ask you, you know, every once in a while, it's every once in a while you'll have some, well, what are you out here doing? And more than likely, these people just more than like, you know, Edomites trying to just call the police on you. They trying to see, make sure you ain't Muslim, trying to do whatever the fuck they thinking. But anyway, because I have seen some old Edomites come up and ask me about, I see you out here every weekend, this is that, we're wondering what you're doing. Just reading the Bible, man. You're just going into these certain things, but then you start going into the Bible, they're like, oh yeah, this nigga actually is going in the Bible, so let me just get on the fuck down the block. You know, but other than that, everybody else already knows the vibration of what we out here pushing, man. That's why I say they're not so-called amazed when they see us on the highways and the byways dressed like how we dressed, saying the things that we saying. They just walk by and put their head down and just pretend like they don't even see us no more, man. All right, so hey, you know, but they know, all right. But hey, like I said, man, they're gonna have that repenting and that groaning for anguish when they realize, oh shit, we was wrong the whole time. All right, but the point I wanted to make there, going into that was, hey, that they standing in a great boldness in the face of those that afflicted them, then that great fear fell upon them. Going back to that Revelation 11 and 11. In fact, let's go ahead and grab that. It says Revelation 11 and 11, and after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High, all right, that prophecy, that wind, blowing that breath into them, man. All right, entered into them, man. Now, every time you hear about the men of the Lord speaking on things, what are we talking about, man? Prophecy, man. Hey, well, the prophecy say this. The prophecy say that. Going into prophecy, hey, this is prophecy taking place. That's another thing that Esau's afraid of, man. Us talking about prophecy, man. Because when you go to these churches and everything else, they don't never talk about prophecy, man. They don't never talk about these things, man. But we be so super excited to hear and to talk about prophecy day in and day out. Hey, prophecy taking place. Did you see this happen? You see that happen? You see what's going on with this? You see what's going on with that, man? Hey, man, that's how you get the men of the Lord's eyes to light up bright like a light bulb, man. Hey, bro, you seen what was going on here? Send them an article about certain things, man, and their whole day is made, man. Prophecy, that's one, we getting one step closer towards salvation, man. One step closer to deliverance, man. All right? But, hey, they don't want us talking about this here prophecy, man. That's that great fear that's falling upon them. Whenever we bring out prophecy, that shit is horrifying unto them, man. Because they know that, hey, man, they own something. We can't deny the prophecy, man. Even your boy Vocab had this, I can't deny this. Can't deny that. Because, hey, man, there's nothing you can do against a prophecy, man. That's why the scriptures say. That's why you're supposed to just stay in the word, man. Get into the scriptures and battle them out with that, man. Because anything else, you can kind of weasel your way around. But when it comes to prophecy, you can't weasel your way around that, man. That's the end all be all. You know, I was speaking on the Israelites and who the Israelites and Israel only and everything else like that. You know, going into what is that? Revelation 14 and which Lord's will we get back to 14? But Revelation 7 and 9, Salakia, about the 144,000 of all the 12 tribes of Israel, and like going in verse 9, talking about there was a great multitude out of every nation, out of every kingdom, of all kindreds and all tongues. You know, these Christians like to claim, oh, that's all of us and this and that. Like, nah, but what did the prophecy say? Deuteronomy chapter 28 and like, what, verse 64? All right, the Lord was going to scatter you amongst all the nations on the earth and to the four corners of the earth. So, hey, man, so if they was going to be scattered into the four corners of the earth, all right, what is that? Jeremiah, I want to say 16 and 14, where the Lord said that he was going to gather us from the north country and from whithersoever he scattered us, man. So, hey, the Israelites was going to be scattered into the four corners of the earth, into every nation, amongst every kindred, amongst every tongue. So, therefore, when the Lord comes to redeem us, he's going to redeem us from every kindred, every nation, and every tongue. So, hey, going back to that great multitude, they all Israelites, man. But yet and still, you know, if you just read that one precept, then people can wiggle around. Well, say all nations, all kindreds, all tongues. Yeah, but you're forgetting about the prophecy that said that the Israelites would be scattered amongst all these people, man. You get into that, you can't refute it. You're like, well, where did the Israelites go? If the Lord was going to come together, then where would they be at? Did the Lord say they was going to all be in one landmass, living in one country the whole time? No, they would be scattered into the four corners of the earth, man. All right, amongst all different nations. So if the Lord was going to come and redeem them and bring them back up out of captivity, first of all, where would they be at? They would be in these nations for what reason? For captivity. Then the Lord said he was going to come and get them up out of their captivity. So if he was going to gather them from the captivity and from the four winds of the earth, wouldn't they be amongst all these other nations? So then you break it down that way, then people, oh, I understand. They don't want us. They don't like speaking to us or having us speak because of why? We go into the scriptures, man, and then we go into what? Prophecies, man. The prophecies is matter of fact, let's go to Revelation. Well, we already in Revelation. But Revelation 19 and verse 10. It says, matter of fact, I'm gonna grab another precept too. But and I fell at his 19 and 10, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see that thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So, hey, the spirit of Yahushua is what? The spirit of prophecy. All right, so, hey, you're not really in the spirit of the Lord unless you're doing what? Going into what? Prophecy, man. All right. And it just slipped my mind. Oh, I know what it was. All right. 2nd Ezra 15 and 1. It says, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. All right. And so again, that's the thing. You know, you go to these churches, you know, you go into, again, like I said, we'll get back there to Revelation 14 about this new song. But hey, man, you go into these churches and everything else like that, man. What are they over there talking about? John 3:16, God love everybody. Man, you go to church, man, they might read 2 damn precepts and be singing and talking about some bullshit all goddamn day, man. They ain't going into none of these prophecies at all, man. They don't tell you about none of the prophecies. If anything, they're like, oh, well, we don't know about that, man. You tell them about the MOTB, they don't have no idea about that. Well, we don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, when we get here, we'll know about it. But then at that point, you already missile food, man. All right, we so close to it, to the point, to the fact of the matter that this is what they implementing globally. And most churches don't even know about these things, man. They don't even talk about prophecies like that, man. All right? You go into the devil being revealed. All right? You go into Jacob waking up. You go into the valley of the dry bones. You go into the ICBM missiles, the chariots, all these different prophecies, man. These are the things and the topics. These are all the things that's speaking right about now, man. The vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Hey, you got the Pentagon releasing UFO documentation and everything else like that going into what? The chariots. All right. You got them pushing the CBDCs, which is going into what? The MOTB. All right. You got the famine of the word talking right now going into the whole yay scenario. You got World War III, where people are choosing sides, the beast hating the whore. All right, America's allies are all going up against her with what? Saudi Arabia snubbing the U.S. and trying to become part of the BRICS nation. All right, Russia being a guardian to these other nations. All right, they all coming together. But hey, you got the whore starting to hate the beast starting to hate the whore with Germany and France and all these different nations all the civilians protesting, the top government. You got soldiers leaving the goddamn military over there right about now, man. You got people saying, look, bro, we don't even want to be part of this here plan no more, bro. We gonna go do our own thing now, man. You know, we don't want to go fight this here war against the Russians. They're not our threat, man. If anything, y'all are our threat, man. Y'all are causing problems over here, man. All these prophecies are taking place right now. This is one of the most important things that's really to be watching for. This is why you have a watchman to watch for these things, man. Watching for the signs of thy coming, man. All right, what are the signs of thy coming in the end of the world? Here you go. Here go a list of these final prophecies, man. Wars and rumors of wars. Famines, plagues, and pestilence, man. All right, the famine of the word. All these different things is leading up to the very end. All right, when he's about to fill his belly, then the Most High gonna rain it upon him while he is still eating. He gonna flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. These are the things you should be looking for. These are the things that are important to the time frame that we're living in right about now, to the point to where it's like, hey, this is the more important thing, man. You go to church and you ain't hearing about these prophecies. You just wasted your time, man. God love everybody. Jesus love everybody. You know, if it's anybody in here that has it on their heart to be saved, man, y'all got 13 people in y'all congregation, the whole damn church. Y'all say the same shit every single week. Nigga, everybody in here so-called saved according to what y'all talking about anyway. So who the fuck else gonna come up here to so-called get hands laid on them and get saved, man? And you was saved from what, nigga? You still in the same plagues as everybody else. The hell you talking about being saved? Saved from what? Y'all don't have an understanding of those things, man. All right? You being vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked day in and day out, and you don't even realize that's the shit you need to be saved from, man. This is destruction. The scriptures say there will be great tribulation on man, let me read it real quick. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there shall be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake those days should be shortened. So hey, man, you talking about being saved from all these things. We got this great tribulation that's come upon the whole earth right about now. But yet and still, you know, like the scripture say, if the days wouldn't be shortened, there would be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake, those days would be shortened. All right, talking about, hey, no flesh would be saved alive. No, nobody would be left alive if time was just to go by and the Lord wouldn't shorten up those days and just come and redeem or save or deliver the elect. So you still living in this here point in time and you think you saved, man, but yet you still plagued by all these different things that's going on out here in the world, man. Which one is it, man? You have to make up your mind. These people have no idea what the hell they're going to church and learning and reading about, man. If anything, they're more blind than anything, man. Right there among the congregation of the dead, man. Can't tell you who an Israelite is or what an Israelite is, let alone who the Israelites are. All right, they couldn't tell you any of these things, man. But yet and still, they go to church day in and day out, man. Don't know a damn prophecy in the scriptures at all. You ask them about a prophecy. What's a prophecy? Do the Bible have prophecies? Can you tell me any of the prophecies in the scriptures? Now, if anything, they may tell you about the MOTB. That might be the only one that they know about. But other than that, they couldn't tell you about nothing else, man. They couldn't tell you that, if you was telling them, that's why people's eyes look the way that they look when we tell them, hey, America is Babylon the Great. America is slated to be turned into the lake of fire, man. Be destroyed off the face of the earth with thermonuclear warfare, man. They'll look at you like you crazy, but then, hey, read Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51. All right, reading World War III, how it's going to end and everything else like that. That's another prophecy that they know about, Ezekiel 38. That's the one that they do know about, Gog and Magog. You go to these Edomite churches, they know about that. But yet and still, but they can't even fully break those things down, man. All right, they have a bad understanding of these things, but yet and still, prophecy is taking place day in and day out, day in and day out. You see certain things, certain topics being played out on the news, and it just go right over their head. They have no idea what's going on. I'm like, well, what that got to do with anything? Like, bro, this is the words of the Bible speaking right here in your face, man. This is a biblical proportion. This is not just some celebrity speaking on this or somebody speaking on that. This is actually the prophecies of the scriptures that's springing forth right about now, man. But yet and still, our people are just blind to hearing these things and seeing these things whenever they see it. But again, like the scripture say, blessed are your eyes will see the things that you see and hear the things that you hear. All right, but yet and still, this prophecy is taking place day in and day out. All right, that's the spirit of Yahweh, man, the spirit of the Lord, man. You want to say that you really in this? I got the spirit of the Lord on me, this and that. But you don't have no understanding of prophecy. You don't understand any of the things that's going on. You're not even looking for prophecy. You're not listening for prophecy. You're not really in the spirit of the Lord, man. All these people in these churches and everything else like that. Yes, yes, yes. It's funny that I got this customer. It's this Edomite guy, and he be he like a Christian, right? Regular Christian and everything else like that. And you know how it is when you, man, no matter what, you be around somebody say something, you just gonna be inclined to speak about something in the spirit, man, right? So he know about my beliefs. He from his eyes, he just know that I'm a quote unquote Christian, right? I believe, I understand the scriptures and everything else like that. And I happened to run into him the other day, and we was talking about certain things, and I was just like, again, like I said, it's kind of hard to hold your tongue with certain things. Like, man, this here place is wicked as all outdoors out here, man. This is all this deceivableness and everything else like that. I was telling him about certain things about, like Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. This here place is worse than like Sodom and Gomorrah. Remember when them angels was beating at the damn door to go get the angels and everything, how bad they are, the things that's going on. Look at this society and what they pushing off nowadays, and with the deception and everything else, like, in this here world where everything is all deceivableness and deception. Like, think about that, man. You got everybody dressed up in basically, I call them clown outfits. They putting all this drag makeup on and everything else like that. All this social media with their fake lives, artificial intelligence, AI, all this artificial life, artificial reality, artificial intelligence, all this fake. This is all fake, man. It's all illusions and everything else like that. I was bringing all that stuff out, and he was like, and you can see it on his face. I never thought about it like that. I never seen this and never seen that. I'm like, nigga, you claim to be one of the biggest Christians. You got John 3:16 and all the scriptures all over your vehicle and shit like that. All this little so-called Christian writing and everything. You wear that shit on your sleeve like you're a Christian, but like, you don't see the shit that's going on around you right about now, and you believe into that pre-tribulation rapture. I'm like, bro, you don't realize that you in the middle of the tribulation right the fuck now? I never even thought about it that way. I'm like, what the fuck are they teaching you in church, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit, whatever, man. But then you just want to believe him. But, hey, I be like, man, I'm going to need my money back, bro. But you see these people, they so, they how the scriptures say, they pretty much, these Edomites, but all these people in the whole, they so-called worship the Lord with their mouth, but they spirit of their heart is far from the Lord, man. Because if they were, they would be in the actual scriptures, man. They would actually be looking for actual prophecies, man. But instead, they go to church. I'm like, what the hell are you learning in church and everything else like that? All this wickedness is going on. Y'all ain't focused on that? The fuck y'all talking about in church right about now? You got the Ukraine and Russia situation going on right now, and y'all talking about you praying for Ukraine and everything. But what the hell y'all talking about right about now in church, man? I'm concerned. I'm confused. I might be like, what the fuck? If I go, I ain't gonna say I want to go to church, but I'm like, I'd be fun to go into church and see what the hell are they talking about nowadays. Knowing the things that we know now, I'm like, bro, y'all talking about this shit in a time like this, but y'all, it ain't the spirit of the Lord ain't on y'all, man. Like the scripture say, the spirit of the Lord is the spirit of prophecy, man. All right, let me read this in 2 Ezra 15:1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. So the Lord said, hey, speak in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. This is what we're supposed to be telling our people about, man. Not just some old regular stuff or just something to make you feel good. That's what our people want to hear. They want to hear smooth words. They want to hear, how they call it, prosperity doctrines. They want to hear these things, that everything is going to be all right. But what they don't want to hear is the fact of, the Lord is coming back. These are the prophecies of the end time. Because, hey, these prophecies is coming to pass. It's not no light prophecies. It's all darkness, man. The MOTB, the great temptation is coming upon the whole earth. All right, you're going to be put to death. They're going to try to put you to death if you don't take this here thing. All right, but the Lord, be thou faithful unto death, and the Lord going to give you a crown of life. All right, you're going to be thrown into prison for my name's sake. All right, and we see this is going on right about now with the whole Ye situation, man. All right, bringing in the famine of the word. You speak on some of these things, and also with the Mr. Jones situation, we'll call him that, Mr. A. Jones situation. You speak on certain things, we can find you of a whole bunch of money and everything else like that, man. Getting ready and preparing us to, what? For the persecution of the saints, man. This is what they're preparing for out here, man. All right, coming down with great wrath, because he knows he had but a short time. We didn't get to that, but quote it right then and there. And the devil's come down at you having great wrath, because why? He knows he had but a short time, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? He know he about to get exposed fully, or he's been exposed fully. All right, he can no longer hide himself. The Lord has made him bare, lifted up that skirt. Mountain nations is seeing his wickedness, man. This is where we at right about now, to where he's like, look, bro, I'm about to lose everything, man. Now these Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans talking about they the Israelites, and now if the rest of the world already telling them that they're in agreement with these things, and they already mad with the deception and the devilness that they got us up under, maybe they'll get on their side and, but hey, man, they all go into captivity as well, too. But you even have some of these heathen talking about how they need us to come back over to the land of Israel. Now, granted, some of these folks might be, actual Israelites just looking like these people, but, hey, at the end all be all, man, this is what Esau is fearing the most. All right, us telling you who we are. All right, us going into prophecy, man. All right, we go into prophecy. What's another part of his prophecy, man? Or another part of prophecy? Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows, man. All right, you know what I'm saying? If you was to tell a person, like, look, man, you're going to be up next as soon as he get up out of power, what would you be doing? You'd be trying to get this nigga up out of power so that you could be up next, man. I mean, granted, we on the Lord's time frame. We can't really do nothing, to offset that. But, hey, what we can spiritually do is come back to the Lord, serve the Lord, man. All right, the quicker all the elect get sealed, the quicker we get up out of here. But, again, you ain't really fast forwarding or speeding up time. It's all going to happen according to the Lord's time anyway. But yet and still, hey, man, this is what we should be doing, man. Seeking the Lord, man, while he may be found. But yet Esau wants us to be far away from that, man. He don't want us to be speaking in the ears of our people prophecies, man. He don't want us to be telling our people the truth. He don't want our people to be looking towards the scripture. He don't want our people to be looking, and also a part of prophecy, all right, you go into prophecy, it exposes him, man. Ezekiel 36, man. All right. Ezekiel 35. All right, telling him about the things that he done unto us, man, and all the different things. All right, but yet and still, you go into these things, then, he's pretty much exposed. He covered the face of the judges thereof. He opened up the books and painted his own likeness like himself. All right, you go into these prophecies and things like that, he's fully exposed. That's why they don't teach you these things in church, man. If all the people that went to church was going in there and reading all these different prophecies, man, when Ye said the things that he said, all of Jake should have been up on his side. Yeah, it's true, it's right here. They should have been posting scriptures on all the comment boards of all the CNNs and all the little videos. Like, look, we're going to challenge what y'all saying, because look, this precept, this precept, this precept, this precept, this precept, this precept. They would have been bombarded by precepts. That's why they don't want to come to us, because we're going to just hit them with the precepts, man. All right, we're going to hit them with, we're going to be swinging the sword uncontrollably, man. They trying to duck one precept over here, we hitting them with another precept over there, man. If you're old school like me, you play that game, Killer Instinct. Ultra, talking about them combos, man. You start hitting a nigga with them combos like that, man. Precept on top of precept, man. How does the scripture say? The word is sharper than a two-edged sword. All right, they're gonna be cut all the way down through and through, man. You hit them with the prophecies and things. And look, man, y'all talk. We're children of the Lord. No, the precept said that y'all was gonna point the land into y'all own hand. The precept said that y'all was going to cover the face of the judges thereof. The precept said y'all was going to paint y'all own likenesses like this. The precept said that the alien would inhabit our land. The precept said that y'all would reign over top of our people in these two lands. Y'all would appoint the land into your own hand, and y'all was going to rule over top of us and oppress us, man. The precept said that y'all was gonna have dominion over the whole earth and take peace from the earth and kill everybody with the sword, man. All right, the precept said that you would take peace from the earth, man. And these are all the things that you wind up doing, man. You don't fit the precepts of being the righteous, man. All right, you fit the precepts of you being the wicked. So all in all, man, you've been fully exposed, man. All right, so this is another reason why they don't want us to go into these prophecies, man. That's why the most important thing to go into is what? Prophecy, man. Because why? It's just exposing them, man. Man, they can't turn from these things. Hey, man, well, before this news article came out, before this story broke, this was written in the scriptures that this would happen, man. Or we tell you before it come to play, like, the MOTB, we already telling you, we've been screaming that from the top of our lungs for years on end. So now as he's starting to implement it, like, see, we told you, here it is right here, man. All right, so, hey, this is why prophecy is so important, all right? I'm going to read this and we'll go ahead and close out. Where are we at? 2 Ezra 15:1. Speak thou in the ears of my people the word of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. All right, so, hey, ultimately, the Lord is putting the spirit of prophecy in our mouth, man. All right, the Lord is the one that's directed us to go find these things and give us, our lot in this thing, man. All right, to go into these things. And, you have brothers, again, many members, but one body. Some brothers are more heavy and just going into prophecies than other brothers, man. But yet and still, hey, man, we all speak and touch on prophecies and things like that. But, hey, this is where you get that real good juice set, man. It's just speaking in on prophecies, man. Going into these different things about, saying before what Esau would be doing, man. Breaking down his systems before he even come. Hey, make it easy that he may run that readeth it. All right, so, hey, look, when you're breaking down these here things that, hey, look, man, this is what's going on. Now you can be able to, I remember years back when I first came into the truth, I was speaking about what they call Morgellons disease, right? Or what they call nanobots, right? Years later, they had this here, the tequila shot, and then they talk about what's inside of that and everything else like that. They're like, oh, when the brothers that, was around hearing me saying those things at that point in time, it instantly triggered in their mind, okay, this is what that brother was talking about. This is what's going on, and this, so on and so forth. It's easy for you to sit there and understand. But, hey, without speaking in prophecy about these things, man, or constantly going into these things, when things arise, it's not that you have to get people super acclimated with these things, man. All right, we say these things before they come to pass, not retroactive. We say it proactively, man. Say it before it comes to pass. We tell you about the MOTB before it comes to pass, man. All right, we tell you about Esau coming down with great wrath before it come to pass. We're not telling you as a reactive, oh, Esau done came down with great wrath. Now we're going in the scriptures. Oh, see, this is what's going on with it. No, man, we tell you before it happens. That's the job of a prophet to say before. All right. 2 Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. All right. You know how they say, write it in stone, set it in stone. All right. And think about that, man. These prophecies was written thousands of years ago, man. And this here book has survived from generation to generation. And guess what? Now is the time where the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Now is the time where this here vision is coming to life. Now is the time where these things are starting to come up off the page. Now is the time where these things are starting to reveal themselves as faithful and true. All right? It says, verse 3, fear not the imagination against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. All right. Well, let me keep reading. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. The point I want to go back up to was verse 3 and 4. It says, fear not the imagination against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And so, hey, thinking about being in a position of yay, right? Because let's just say we're in that same position. But being in that position and you having somebody like Charlemagne talking shit about you and making all these videos and all this and that, trying to discredit your character and everything else like that. Hey, man, don't fear the imagination of the wicked, man, and those things like that, man. The Lord coming to bring judgment, man. All right, and at that point in time, you're going to see, hey, they're going to know that they had, we read that in Wisdom of Solomon 5, they fools counted his life as madness, and it's in without honor. They're going to have that great, oh, shit moment, man. We done fucked up moment, man. That's going to be that point in time where all that shit that they was talking, the Lord going to put that back up into their mouth, and they're going to be like, fuck, I wish I wouldn't have, I never said this, I never said that, and everything else. It's funny, I seen a YouTube short about this. Somebody was doing a little skit. They was in jail, talking all this big shit. Yeah, I did this and that. I fought this nigga. I don't know what the nigga name was. I fought this nigga Ray Ray from Southside or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, you fought Ray Ray from Southside? Yeah, I knocked that nigga out, man. That nigga went to sleep. That nigga did this and that. Ray Ray from the Southside? Nah, Ray Ray from Southside? You know, little short Ray from Southside. Oh, with the tattoos and the big muscles. Yeah, that nigga, man. Yeah, I knocked that nigga. Why you keep asking? Cause I'm that nigga. Oh, they swallow their tongue at that point in time, man. They realize, oh shit, I've been over here lying and I done got exposed, and he right here. Now I gotta sit here. Hey, I already know what's coming next, man. So hey, this is gonna be that great moment, you know, when the Lord get that judgment for all those, you know, that you know, ultimately blasphemed against him, man. That stood up and helped uphold Esau's system and everything else like that, man. Spoke against the men of the Lord, talked about the prophets and everything else like that. Think about back to Noah in his times, man. All right, all the people that Noah didn't seen, all the people that talk shit about Noah, man. Hey, Lord's will at that point in time that all those people were sitting around here beating on the damn on the ark doors, man, as it was starting to rain, man, holding their children in their hands. Help, Noah, help! Got the kids in there trying to hold them above water as they was out there drowning. And Lord's will, Noah was looking over the edge of them little niggas and just like, yeah, what now? Yeah, hey. Put his hand out over the side. Hey, come on, reach for it. And kept pulling his hand back. Lord's will, that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? But hey, at that point in time, they realized that, hey, look, maybe how was he numbered amongst the children of the Lord? How was he right the whole time and we was wrong the whole time, man? So, hey, man, you know, to all these people that's with the laughing and scoffing, let not the incredulity of them and all that shit talking that they be having going on trouble you. Don't let that move you. Don't let these people trying to cancel you and everything else like that. There's another precept I want to grab. Actually, there's two of them. I'll probably just grab this one. Let me just, I could read this whole chapter, but I'll just read a portion of this. In Matthew chapter 10, let me start up a little bit. Yeah, so you can read the whole thing, but let me just start at verse 13. It says, and if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it, but if it be not worthy, let your peace return unto you. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your word, when you depart out of the house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. And verily I say unto you, it should be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in that day of judgment than for that city. And you know, hey, that should be your mindset, man. Think about what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, and these people in this point in time, they about to get Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. All right, how you call it? Thermonuclear warfare raining down upon their ass, man. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to understand. Hey, they gonna be walking hand in hand with the wicked. They're not gonna go unpunished. They're gonna get their judgment, man. So hey, you know, at the end point with this whole scenario, hey, man, they're gonna be missile food, man. So don't even worry about them, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, these people that's out here this wicked and doing all this stuff and saying things about you, man, just know at the end all be all, they're gonna be missile food, man. All right, Lord's will that they make it that far, man. If they make it that far, the Lord really hated their ass, man. But hey, it says, because they got to go through all the other plagues before they even become missile food. All right, but going back into it, says, verse 16, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. You know, and that's how we are, man. Hey, because again, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, man. We just preaching the word, man. All right, these people out here trying to devour us, man. These people they do all kind of foul shit to try to expose us and everything. And they ain't really exposing us, but you know what I'm saying? They'll find videos of you and everything else like that and try to take this to your loved ones and your job and everything else like that and get you all messed up. But hey, man, this is what these people do. They're just showing forth to the demons that they really are, man. If they have to actually stop and doing what they and think about what they're doing, I'm like, look, all he was doing was videotaping himself, preaching and reading. I could have just turned the channel easily. But then I took that video, I did the research where he live at, where he work at, called up his job and did this and that to his job and everything else like that just to get this nigga fired, you know, and all he was doing was free. He didn't do none of this stuff to me, but this is what I did to him and his household. But like I said, they just demons, man. They have to play out their role anyway, man. All right. Verse 17, but beware of men, for they will deliver you up to councils and will scourge you in the synagogues. Like I was just saying, you know, bring you up to these councils. And you should be brought before governors and kings for my sake and for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. And you see the scenarios going on with Ye right about now, being called up. Hey, we trying to boycott him for the things that he's saying and everything else like that. Not for you know, you got these rappers that's out there catching bodies, you know, killing folks. You got what's that boy, YMW Melly or something like that, who's on trial for killing his friends and everything else like that. They didn't stop pushing and promoting his music. They didn't pull his music off the website for killing another Jake or killing other Jakes and everything else like that. You got other rappers that's in jail for all kind of other shit, but they don't pull their music up off the off the platforms. But look, you go and you tell Jake that they're the Israelites, then all of a sudden we gotta boycott you, we gotta stop doing business with you and everything else like that, man. All right. It says, and you should be bought before. And one thing about Ye, you know, they'll sit there and say we gotta boycott him and take his music off of this and that. Well, we don't know who owned his masters and nothing like that. But let's just say they owned his masters and everything else like that. They could boycott him, but the moment he die, they gonna put his stuff right back on the platforms for it to be consumed, so they can make all that money up off of it again. See, this is how these devils work, man. But I mean, if he owned his own shit, you know what I'm saying, then that's a different story. But it says, but you should be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought of how or what you shall speak, for it should be given you in that same hour what you shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And so, hey, you know, it's not like we, if they ever question me, I got this here, a little line of what I'm going to say. Nah, man. Hey, the Lord will give you their spirit at that point in time, man. And we've seen it plenty of times just being on the highways and the byways, man. You know, just regular people come up and confront us and ask us questions about this and ask us questions about that. And, hey, we go into the scriptures to, make it clear what we stand for, man. You know, they call the cops on us and everything else like that. And then what? You know, the Lord will put the spirit on us to be delivered out of that scenario, man. You know, they'll come up with this and come up with that. Like, look, man, all we up here doing is reading and preaching, man. We ain't stopping nobody. We ain't doing this and that. But at the end of the day, you know, it's the Lord that's speaking within us, man. And they bring us up into these big councils and everything else, put us in the court and everything else like that. Hey, look, y'all gonna have me swearing this here Bible, right? Why would y'all have me in court swearing this here Bible to tell the truth, this and that, but then I can't use the Bible as part of my evidence? What kind of hypocrite is that? You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, you're just showing more forth that you're a damn devil, man. All right? But, hey, at the end all be all, man, the Lord will give us the spirit to speak. It says, verse 21, and the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father of the child, and the children shall raise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. So like I said, man, it might be your own brother and your own kinfolk, your own father, your own son, your own daughter. You know what I'm saying? And they don't even know what the hell they're doing. But look, they would think themselves to be doing wise and doing the work of the Lord by so-called having you put to death, man. Oh, man, look at my brother. He on this little stupid-ass Israelite shit. He go to videos of what he doing, exposing. Now your brother getting locked up, losing his job and everything else like that, man. And like I said, man, is like what the scripture just says, it's gonna be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah than for your ass, man. Lord's will, you be preserved to eat a goddamn missile. You see the Lord face to face. You see your brother get beamed up into that chariot while that missile coming down right for your ass, and that your flesh is consuming off your skin, man. Or your flesh is melting off your bones, man. All right, your eyes is melting in your sockets, man. All right, Lord's will, that's what happens to you, man. But it says, and you should be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. All right, it says, and you should be hated of all men for my name's sake. Not for what we doing. They can't be mad about, like I said, with the Kanye scenario. Hey, they ain't mad at him for anything else but other than saying that he's an Israelite. Because of the information, that new song, we didn't get to the Revelation 14, that new song that he was singing. Because, hey, going back to the old song was what? You go to church, you read about, you read for God to love the world, that part, and that's it. And y'all sing and dance and everything else like that. 40 years you've been going to church and don't know what an Israelite is, man. You don't know any of these things, but now all of a sudden this is the thing. You're talking about the Israelites, the Edomites, prophecy. You're talking about all these different things nowadays. This is something completely new. All right, you're talking about those people over there in that land. You're talking about the devil and all these different things. You have a new understanding of all these things, but now all of a sudden, this is what you know, singing this here new song is what's getting you canceled nowadays, man. This is what's getting you, you know, you can go out there in a so-called Muslim sense and say that you Muslim and you ain't with these deaf to the infidels and everything else like that. You could be an atheist talking about some to hell with Christianity, God ain't real, and all these different things. But and that's pushed and promoted. You know, the communities out there saying that there ain't no God and they want to have purple hair and God is a woman and all these different things. But then you go out there and you tell the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans they're the children of Israel. All right, that's when you're gonna be persecuted. That's when the things come down upon you, man. Look at, like I said with Kanye's situation, man. All the damn crazy shit that this nigga done said that, you know, George Bush don't like black people. He said that against a sitting president of the United States of America at that point in time. They ain't do a goddamn thing to him. They pushed to promote him, gave him Grammys and all kind of shit after that. Gave him a shoe deal after that, everything else, or the clothing deal, everything else he got after saying all of those things. But the one thing he spoke about was going into the scriptures, man, for the Lord's name's sake, you know, about who are the real Israelites, you know, that a part of that new song. That's what got him canceled, man. So take heed to that, man. Take heed to these things that's going on and seeing what, seeing what's really with the, how to put it, you know, what's really so-called dangerous to say, man. What's really a threat to this here society, man. You over here gangbanging and killing up your people and everything. That's just putting money into their pockets and taking out more jakes. But you over here on the highways and byways reading from the Bible, all right, and telling our people who they are, that's way more dangerous. That's why we read a little earlier, hey, you know, then they stood upon their feet and that great fear fell upon them because they stood in the great boldness and the face of those that afflicted them, man. All right, and started preaching and teaching their people about these things, man. That's what was so-called threatening unto them, man. All right, again, like I keep making the analogy, man, when Ray robbing the bank and everything else like that, when you call out his name, don't say my name behind the mask and everything. That's what's most threatening unto him because now the scheme is up, man. All right, that mask ain't doing nothing else for you because I done already called out your name. I can identify you by your voice. I know you. Yeah, I know X, Y, and Z. I know where you live and everything else like that. So at the end all be, yeah, he right here. Y'all can go pick him up over there and see he got the same gun, the same evidence and everything else like that, man. So now you've been exposed, man. All right. It says, verse 22, and you should be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. All right. So, hey, you know, you're going to be hated of all men for the Lord's name's sake, not for your doings or whatever, but for what? Preaching this here word. It says, but when they persecuted you in the city, flee into another. For verily I say unto you, you should not have gone over the cities of Israel to the Son of Man. Come, the disciples is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master and the servant as his Lord. If they call the master the house of Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his house? So, hey, you know, they said the Lord was of the devil, so how much more of you? They gonna call you crazy. They said he had demons on him. He had this and that going on. So how much more in this here point in time, man? All right, you know, they gonna call you out of all kind of different names. Try to get you canceled, try to get you fired, try to get you your woman to break up with you. Man, your man is one of them little Israelites. He out there with them we ain't gonna say that word, but he out there with Ye and all them. All these different things is going on, man. So now you might want to get away from him. He crazy out there, man. So they're gonna be trying to cancel you the same way. So it's nothing new under the sun, man. Hey, but look, hey, we gonna keep be thou faithful unto death, man. We gonna the scripture say these are they that follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. All right, there was no guile in his mouth, man. All right, all these things are things we taking all the way to the end, more or less to say, man. All right, because we know that we're on the side of righteousness, man. They're on the side of wickedness, man. Of course, they're gonna try to get us to fall and to fail and everything else like that. But hey, we know what it is out here, man. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.